How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Thanks for doing this, man. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me. Thank you for thinking of me. How about that?
Please, you are the guy. Whenever anybody asks me who's the best fighter in the world, you're the guy.
I appreciate it, man.
I think if young guys are coming up and they want to learn how to fight where they take as little damage as possible and inflict as much as possible, you're my perfect example. So thank you for being you.
No, hey, you know what? I'm doing my best to pay these bills. I got bills to pay.
I understand, but it's more than that, man. You can't just be paying bills because you don't just do enough work. You do more. Like, it's pretty obvious when you fight that you're putting in crazy hours.
Oh, yeah.
Because you keep getting better and better and better. Like, it's not as simple as, like, you just paying the bills. Like, you obviously have a pretty deep passion for this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I will honestly say it's credited to Matt Hume and Brad Curtin. Ever since I started training mixed martial arts, you know, I didn't jump into mixed martial arts because of the UFC. I mean, I did see The Ultimate Fighter and all that stuff, but I saw the workouts, how in shape they were. And then when I started fighting, Matt was like, okay, you can do a mixed martial arts fight. So I had my first amateur fight. Then next, Matt was like, good job. Okay. Then I'll go back to training. And then Matt was like, hey, you can do how do you feel about doing a kickboxing fight? I was like, sure, why not? Did a kickboxing fight, won that. He goes, good job. Then he's like, hey, there's a jiu-jitsu tournament. You need to go there and beat everybody. I would go there, take first place. He goes, good job. And in the back of his mind, I think he's like, you know, he's molding me to be very well-rounded. And then one time he's like, hey, there's a boxing fight. You want to take it? I'm like, sure, let's take it. Won that. And then so forth. Then I did a Muay Thai fight. Then I did a jiu-jitsu tournament. So I never just did pure mixed martial arts throughout my whole entire upbringing. He would make me do different aspects of martial arts, mixed martial arts, to get me ready. So if I got in a fight and I'm fighting a pure boxer, I can get in there and be like, okay, I'm fighting a boxer. So boxer, I can put my head super low and not have to get worried about knees and stuff. But so I've dabbled in I've competed in every single sport in mixed martial arts. You know, I never did taekwondo as a kid and all that stuff. As I got older, I did I joined AMC. He made me do those things, and I've done like 4 or 5 jiu-jitsu tournaments. Not gi, just grappling, because basically you half naked when you're fighting. So that's what I did that way.
Yeah. How many years were you training before you had your first fight?
Amateur fight or professional?
Any kind of fight.
Oh, man. I trained maybe 6 months.
6 months?
6 months.
And how old were you at the time?
18, 19.
So you've been with him for 10 years or so.
Yeah, so I was with, Matt had a satellite school, which was south. So here's Tacoma, where I used to live, and here's Puyallup, and then here's Auburn, and that's where his satellite school was. And then here's Renton. Then you got Newcastle.
For anybody who's listening to this, he's moved his hands higher and higher and higher.
Sorry,
up Washington State.
Yes, so way up north. So the AMC Matt's location is 45 to an hour away from me, where I live now. Prior to that, it was like an hour and 30 minutes away from me. So I found his satellite gym. And even before I went to that gym, I had no idea who Matt Hume was. Even when I fought for Matt Hume, he would sit in a chair like Shao Kahn and just watch us fight. And then he wouldn't talk to me or anything.
Like who?
Shao Kahn.
Who's that?
That's the last guy in Mortal Kombat 2. He sits in a chair and he goes, finish him. And then, you know. So, but that's how it was. He would just
say that like everybody would know what you're talking about. That's hilarious.
Well, they need on that video game hype. So, he would just sit there and watch. He would just sit there and watch, and he wouldn't even talk. I mean, he would talk to me, but he would not talk to me. Like,
right.
It was just different. And then eventually, once I had the first fight with Ian McCall, he goes, all right, Demetrious, you got to start taking this shit seriously. I was like, what do you mean? Like, we're in the UFC. I just fought for a world title against Dominic Cruz. He goes, dude, you only train with me twice a week, like Saturdays, and at that point, it was only Saturdays. Wednesdays and Saturdays. So you're only training with me 2 days a week. Like, you need to take this shit seriously. When people are professional athletes, they leave their families and move away and train with the trainer. And so that's why you saw a huge change in my game from the second Ian McCall fight, because I started training underneath him. If I went to go take a shit, Matt was like, hey, what color is that poop? I need to know. He started overseeing everything I did, when it was swimming, conditioning, everything. Beginning of my MMA career, when I was fighting, Miguel Torres, Kid Yamamoto, Demasio Page, Nick Pace, I was doing my own thing, like doing my conditioning on my own. Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, Friday, I was doing my own thing. And then Wednesday, Matt would come down the south, beat me up. And then Saturday, I'll drive up to Kirkland and train with him, and then we would spar. So after that fight, the first team call fight, he was like, you need to take this shit seriously. And that's when I was like, all right, I'll do 100% with you then. And then this is what you have now.
What a lucky break for you to find that guy, too, like as a trainer.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if he's not the best, there's a handful of guys like that I consider like the best. Like Faraz Sahabi's in there, Matt's in there. There's a few guys that are just at that upper level where they can coach you in everything.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and that's so fortunate for a young fighter like you to find him at just the beginning stage.
Yeah. Oh, and even though he's, I think he's 49, he'll be 50 this year. It's always funny because when we're getting ready for a fight, we're in it 100%. When we're training, we're learning, and I'm still learning. And then when we're not getting ready for a fight, you know, he lets me do my thing, stay in shape. I do a good job doing that. And then sometimes we'll come back and we'll spar. And he was just in China and he was in Singapore. And I'm always like, okay, I'm going to get the best of him this time. I'm going to get the best of him. And so he's like, all right, I think I'm going to spar today. He'll go upstairs, get his gear on. And then, like, my buddy Carol, so he goes, oh, Dad's going to spar tonight. And I was like, I'm about to get him, watch. And we're sparring. And I remember we were sparring, and he was hitting me, and I was hitting him. And then I remember I did a Superman punch, and I connected, and I was like, yeah. And as I connected, I was like, boom, high kick, hit me in the back of the head. And I was like, good fucking for you, Matt. Good for you. You still got it, don't you? I mean, it's just, I mean, he's just an amazing athlete, even though he's 49 years old.
He was a great fighter.
Oh, yeah, he was amazing.
A great fighter.
Amazing fighter.
I remember watching him way back in the day when he fought Pat Miletich.
Yep.
And he broke Pat Miletich's nose, and they stopped the fight, which I was like, I remember even at the time, I was like, what the fuck? You're going to stop a fight over a broken nose?
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. It happens all the time in boxing. It happens all the time in every sport. But for whatever reason, they just decided to stop the fight. Didn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think it was a good thing they did. I don't think the fight was going. It was going way south for Pat Miletich.
It was definitely going south for Pat. Well, yeah. Matt was so well-rounded. You know, he had so many skills in so many different areas. I remember he competed in that all-submission tournament too. Remember they had that professional all-submission thing that they did on pay-per-view once a long time ago.
This is new knowledge to
God
me.
Damn it! I'm trying to remember the name of it.
Did he? I remember he tore Kenny Monday's leg.
That was it.
Okay, yeah, I've seen that before. Yeah,
that was it. Kenny Monday, who was an Olympic gold medalist in wrestling.
Yep.
Yeah, Matt is like one of my all-time favorite guys as far as like coaches. Like those are the two guys that I'll tell people if they go, hey man, I'm thinking about really taking this seriously. Move to Washington State or move to Montreal. There's your two places.
Yep, I totally agree with you. Yeah, man, anytime you're in Seattle and you want to come out and hang out and probably even grapple with Matt, he would love to do it. I mean, he still grapples and he still looks,
that's amazing that he doesn't have any nagging injuries. He's not all fucked up.
You know what? One of the things that Matt tries to push onto me is that he's like, I always ask him, if there's one thing you could have done different when you were training as a professional fighter, what would it be? And he said, train smarter. Don't beat my body up so bad. And that's what he tries to implement on me. But no nagging injuries. You know, every once in a while he'll pull something and he will take the time to rest. But when I'm getting ready for a fight, he goes, I'm not going to jump in today. I'm gonna get this rested. I'm going to watch, coach you, and then once it's rested, I'm going to jump in. I'm like, okay, sounds good. Just make sure you jump in here because I need you.
Yeah, it's so smart to do that, and so few guys do. Everybody wants to be a tough guy. Everybody wants to, like, rough it out. And
I'm above that.
And push
and so
through it. It's so smart to do. It's so smart to just let the engine heal, let the machine heal.
Absolutely.
You know, there's so many guys that think you have to be a hard ass. You have to wrap up your arm like a mummy and get in there. I mean, you could always do something. You know, you could always, like, I know a lot of guys who they've torn muscles, so they do all the workouts in the pool or something along those lines. Well, Rafael Dos Anjos, before he beat Anthony Pettis for the title, he had an MCL tear. He couldn't do anything. So all he did was sprints on the Aerodyne.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just doing hour-long sprints, you know, like just like interval sprints on the Aerodyne, and that's all he did for like the last couple of weeks of his camp.
Yeah. Well, it's unfortunate because this is how us fighters make our money. I remember when I was getting ready to fight John Dodson for the second time, I tore something in my calf, and Matt's like, you know, I told him, I was like, dude, my calf hurts. And he's like, all right, lay down, let me massage it, let me see what's going on. And it's a popliteus, I think it was. And he goes, yeah, you pretty much tore it, so we need to get that healed. And I was like, well, Matt, what the fuck? I was like, what do you want me to do? You know, we ran, 15 miles this week. And we also did sparring, pads, all the, the workload was very heavy. And you're hanging on my neck, and, you're not 125 pounds, you're 175 pounds. So, I mean, I'm doing my job and push my body, and I'm sorry that it's broken. He goes, I know, we just need to get it healed before the fight. And so we spent most of our cardio workouts in the pool, just doing long sprints. And, you know, unfortunately, it's injuries are part of the sport, and we never want to pull out from a fight, but it happens to everybody.
Yeah, it does happen. And it's kind of crazy if you look at the UFC schedule. I think they said out of 40 title fights that they had set, or 40 main events, 35 of them or 34 of them pulled out. Something crazy like that.
Yeah, you're
Like
right.
the majority changed, which is insane.
It's not you want the smaller percentage to be at.
Well, it's different than any other sport because, like, boxing, it's very rare that a fighter pulls out of a fight. Like, even Manny Pacquiao had a torn shoulder. He tore his labrum and still wound up fighting Floyd Mayweather for the title. You know, and because also he's got $100 million on the line or something insane like that.
I would, if I had a torn ACL and everything, I'd be like, $100 million, let's get it. I'm going to get this paper.
Yeah, because you never know when those paychecks are coming. Like, that's a crazy paycheck. That's
Absolutely.
a once in a lifetime, you know. But so many people got mad at him after that fight when they found out that he was injured.
True. But at the same time, like you said, once in a lifetime. When's the next time you're going to fight Floyd Mayweather?
Yeah, right. If you're so lucky to get in there, I mean, he's the ultimate payday.
Yep, I'll fucking fight him. I'll fight him in boxing. I'm like, dude, I don't care what happens. I was like, I'll be taken care of. I'm like, we're done. I'm like, baby. Break out the red panties, as Conor McGregor said.
Yeah, Conor McGregor, what a hilarious motherfucker that guy is. Jesus Christ. When you see a guy like that that's getting so much attention talking shit, does it make you want to start talking shit?
No, man. It's you know, that's his gig. You know, that's his gig. He's doing a good job at it. He's opening doors.
He's the best at it.
Yeah, he's the best at it.
He's the best at it. I've never seen anybody that talks as much shit as he does, but in his way with his Irish accent.
Yes.
It's all a part of the show, you know?
Yep, I agree. No, I love it. I remember the first time seeing him fighting, and I was watching him, I was like, okay, he understands distance. He understands fighting. And then as I saw him fight, you know, a little better competition with, you know, Diego Brandao, Dustin Poirier, and I saw how he crossed distance and how he could take a shot. And I'm like, okay, all right, let's see. Now, the huge test, you know, I'm ready to see one of your faces like,
yeah. The Aldo fight. That's going to be, who knows what the fuck's going to happen in that fight. That's what I like about it.
Yep.
What I love about that fight, where people go, who's going to win it? Who's going to win it?
I don't fucking know.
I don't fucking know. I got no idea. That's a I have no idea fight because anything can happen. And goddamn, Conor takes a good shot.
Yeah, he can take a shot.
I was impressed because Mendez he can bang, and he connected a bunch of times. And Conor just didn't seem phased at all.
Yep.
I'm very impressed with that. He's got a big ass head too. Yeah. You know, when him and Aldo, this is coming from a dude with a big ass head as well. But when him and Aldo are face to face, and he's looking down on Aldo, I'm like, Jesus Christ, look at the size of him. Plus the beard makes it look even bigger, like yours. Right? Yeah. He doesn't quite have as majestic a beard as yours.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Not as quite.
Thank you.
Not quite as majestic. But like looking at the two of them together, you realize how much bigger Conor is.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think about the weight cut issue now because of the IV ban? For people listening to this, don't know what we're talking about. You used to be able to make weight, and then after you made weight, you could rehydrate with IVs intravenously. They banned that because fighters, apparently, people in other sports have used IVs to mask performance-enhancing drugs. So they banned IVs. A lot of people think it's dangerous because they think it's the most efficient way to rehydrate. And if you're going to have weigh-ins, and especially if you're going to have a big disparity of weight classes, like you're in a weight class like 125 where there's a 10-pound jump between 125 and 135.
Yep.
But a lot of them, like 85 to 205, that's 20 pounds.
Yeah.
Or 205 to 265 is crazy.
Yep.
60 pounds. It's a giant difference.
You know, I'm not gonna lie, I'm all for it. I've never had the IV, not once in my whole entire career. And there's been times I had to cut 8.5 pounds the day of weigh-ins. I think it's gonna help people fight more at their natural weight classes. You know, I honestly think I'm probably one of the smallest guys in the flyweight division. You know, this morning, I don't know when I woke up, but I know yesterday I woke up at 141.5. And I had beer, good food, the night before. So I'm a small guy. So when I cut to 125, I mean, it's a hard cut. I'm you know, cutting 15 pounds. But I rehydrate very well. I never get tired when I fight because I make sure I do my homework, learn how to diet right, and then make sure I get enough water in me so I can have the water to cut out of my system. But for guys who, I know John Dotson, I've heard he gets to like 157, 160. I've never seen.
Does he really?
That's what I've heard on the street. I know Joseph, he used to get big between his fights, but I heard he's kind of, last time I talked to him, he's kind of stayed a little bit lower. Because in reality, it's like, what's the point of getting big and put muscle on? Eventually, you're going to have to cut it off anyways. I mean, the first thing that goes when you're losing weight is typically muscle, then the fat, and then so forth. So for me, I'm all for it. I think you're going to start seeing a lot of guys like Hannah Brow. He's going to fight at 145 now. Who knows Conor McGregor? He has a huge cut to 145. He's going to possibly fight at 155. So I think it's good. I mean, obviously, I know a lot of guys love the way you can IV. But now they're like, I think the biggest thing is they're like, whoa. We used to be able to do this for 20 years plus, and now you're just going to come here and say we can't do it? I thought this was America. So I think that's where people are getting their panties in a bunch.
Well, the solution to that would be only have IVs that were supervised by doctors. Or here's a better solution. Give someone a blood test at the weigh-ins, you don't need a lot of blood.
Yeah.
You just prick them, get a little bit of blood, then let them IV, and then test the blood, so then if they're doing anything. It's real simple. Then test them after the fight, and you're covered. Yeah,
and I think they're trying to do. My personal opinion. I remember when we were doing the USADA meeting, and it cracked me up because he was like, well, that's a totally different story, but he said that one fighter came in, didn't give a name, came in, did his test before the fight. No, before weigh-ins. Tested. That test came back clean. But then after the fight, they did the post-fight. They're like, okay, there's something. No. So he came in, weighed in. They tested him before he weighed in. Then after weigh-ins, they tested him again. Then after the weigh-ins, after the fight, they tested him. And they're like, okay, whoa, something's wrong here. Because he rehydrated. And he was hiding something when he rehydrated. And then the USADA guy, I forget his name. He's like the head guy, bald guy.
Jeff Nowitzki.
He was saying this guy was hiding something. We didn't further depth, and he was masking drugs with the IV. And so I think we've already had that happen in our sport, and that guy got caught.
Who the fuck is that?
I don't know.
I don't even know who that is.
He didn't even give a name.
Really?
Yep.
Well, how is that possible? I thought all that stuff is public.
No. It didn't go public because the person got caught, but he didn't give the name of the story of who the person was, who they tested.
So he wouldn't say who got caught.
Yeah. So let's say
he just was saying how someone got caught, and the person who got caught, we know that they got caught, so it was public that they got caught.
Yes, but we didn't know the whole
story
logistic behind how he got caught, and then he was like, this was recent, so it happened just recently. So.
Who the hell could that have been? Who's been popped recently? Let's speculate.
Yeah.
The rumor mill. Well, there's been a few guys. Well, obviously this is a sport that in the beginning
you could do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, and a lot of people did whatever the fuck they wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember I know a lot of people I remember you were a big fan of dude, hey Joe, me and you're gonna fight. You wanna juice? I'll juice too. If we're on the same plane. And I think back in the day, the culture of it was okay with that because, don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure when God made us, he goes, I'm going to build you to be able to fight year after year, take all this damage to the head. And somebody was like, what's the best way to take a shot, a punch? I was like, there isn't, my friend. Your body's not designed to get beat up on. It's not
at all.
And so, but with the TRT or testosterone or HGH, all that stuff, it helps the recovery of it, so you can have a long career.
It doesn't just seem to help; it seems to help your ability to take punishment.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what's crazy. It's like a lot of these guys that are juiced up, they can take a better shot.
I tell you what, when I fought Ali Bagotinov, my follow-along goes, dude. After we got done the fight, he goes, I came home and he saw my knees. My knees were just blown up.
You beat the fuck out of that dude. And he hung in there, man.
Yeah, he did. And my follow-on came in and he goes, I guarantee you he's going to pop for something. No man can take a beating like that and be able to walk away like that. I promise you.
And
sure
after
enough,
the fight?
After the fight, I'm playing video games. Somebody calls me, did you hear what happened? I was like, no. What's up? And he goes, he popped for EPO. And I was like, shit. No worries. And Matt was floored. He goes, no wonder, because when we studied tape on him, Matt was like, he's going to get tired, and you're going to be able to finish him.
He still got tired.
He still got tired.
Which is incredible.
Yeah, and then Matt was like, you're going to be able to finish him. And then when we didn't finish him, Matt was like, that's the reason why, because he never got tired. And Well,
he never got
tired,
as tired as he should have.
Exactly.
Well, he's a guy that he's got there's a style of fighting where it's kind of like you're going all in.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what he does with all his punches. He's pushing all his chips in. He's throwing 100% effort into all of his punches. He grits down his teeth. He winds up with his punches, and he's got good power.
Oh yeah.
But that style, you just can't fight like that for 5 rounds. You just can't do it, and it's really not a smart style anyway because those punches come slower.
Yeah.
And there's a few guys that still fight like that, even though that's one of the worst ways to do it.
There's a lot of guys who still fight like that, but
you can get away with it if you blow the guy out in the first round.
Exactly. And another side of that, the double-edged sword, is that it's very exciting. People like that.
Yeah,
People are like,
sure.
oh my God.
Well, hey, look at Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
That's a perfect example. Like Ronda Rousey after the first round, there were stylistic issues and there was obviously technical issues where she wasn't as good as we thought she was standing up. You know, when you see her hit the pads and you see her fight someone like Betch Kohea, she looked good. But then you see her fight a skilled striker like Holly, and some issues got exposed, some technical issues. But she fucking sprinted. Like, she came out the opening round and sprinted. And by the end of the first round, she'd been hit a bunch, and she was exhausted.
Yeah.
She was exhausted. And it was because she went all in.
Yeah.
She went all in.
And you think about it, that's how she's been so successful with her opponents. I mean, the biggest thing you could do, nobody trains in the gym like, okay, round 1, fight. Ugh. Nobody fights like that. So when you do that to an opponent, that breaks them down. It freaks them out.
Yeah.
I would give praises to Greg Jackson and John Wigglejohn, those guys over there, Albuquerque, for getting Holly Holm ready for that. Because in my mind, going to that fight, I was like, if I was Holly Holm, I'll take a second, relax, see what Ronda's bringing. Use my jab, use my high kick, use my spinning kicks, just to get Ronda off her game. Because Ronda likes to clash. She likes this collision. Like you said, when she fought Betch Kohea, she won that exchange to Betch Kohea. When her wins in Octagon, if you look at the people she's fought, their combined record, I did my fans, my Mighty Squad, they did the
Mighty Squad?
The Mighty Squad. My Mighty Squad, they brought me the numbers, and they're like, dude, her combined record of her opponents in the UFC was 1-9.
Wow.
So, that's
really?
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing.
So when you look at, obviously the promotion has to do their thing to sell the next big fight. But as me, as an athlete, I'm like, so Betch Kohea versus Ronda Rousey. You want to know how this is going to go. Ronda Rousey's going to knock her out because, yes, Betch Korea's undefeated 9-0, but who the fuck has she fought? Like, you have to look at, who that person's fought. So when I look at a person like Joseph Benavidez, I'll always give him high praises because the man's fought Dominic Cruz. His only 2 losses between me and Dominic Cruz, John Dotson. He hasn't lost at 135, and his only loss to 125 is to me. So his skill set is high up there to where, Kat Zingano, I thought she had the best chance to beat
I agree.
Ronda Rousey, but I spent time with her in the back when we were getting ready to fight UFC 178, and she was so emotional. I was like, and I was sitting back there just eating a banana, and she was like, doing her thing. I'm like, it's just a fucking fight. Don't worry about it.
It's just a fucking fight.
I was like, it's just gonna fight. She goes, I don't need to hear that right now. And I was like, all right. And then she goes out there and she's so emotional. I'm like, that's going to be her downfall. And I told people, I was like, when she fights Ronda, she can't get emotional. And then what she do? She goes out and throws a flying knee, gets caught up, armbar. If she went out there like, I'm in a fight, take my time, work my jab. I got 25 minutes. Why do I need to rush? Why do I need to rush? If there was like, okay, there's a time limit. You have 5 minutes. Let's see who's going to win. Oh, I'm going to go all fucking in. I'm going to blow my wad.
Right.
But when you have 25 minutes, I'm going to take my time and enjoy it.
Well, I think the overwhelming moment of being there, fighting for the title, fighting Ronda at the peak of her popularity or near that fight was probably the one that set Ronda over the top.
Yeah.
And then Betch Kohea just shot her into the stratosphere because it was in Brazil.
Yep.
I'll tell you, man, that was a surreal moment. It was surreal being there in Brazil because every time I've been to Brazil before, they never cheer for Americans. Yeah. I mean, they cheer, when you're over, you give props to Brazil.
Yeah.
But when you're on the weigh-in scale and you're fighting a Brazilian, they're very proud.
Yeah.
And they were fucking cheering Ronda and booing Betch Kohea.
Like, Betch, we're disowning you, Betch.
It was crazy. She's up there with the flag, Brazil, Brazil. and they're like, no, Ronda, Honda. It was crazy, man. It was, and when she won, it was bizarre. It was a bizarre moment. It was watch her strut around the octagon. Yeah. Like she was like taking it all in and walking around like some fucking gladiator shit. It was like some Russell Crowe shit. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. Oh, yeah. But for her, what a trip it must be to go from that, which is just like the most epic victory in Brazil, in the home country, million pay-per-view buys. She's a superstar in every talk show, and everybody wants to talk to her, to head kicked, to beaten down, and then head kicked.
Yeah. I think
crazy
watching that fight and how Matt always talks about pushing your opponent to the distance where you need to land a kick. So once Holly, when Holly had her down once before, and then she got up, and Holly kind of let her go, and then the second time when she pushed her butt into the high kick, and I was like, I didn't know too much about Holly Holm. Then once, the fight was getting built up, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do a little more research on Holly Holm. And then I saw how she was strong. She was an athletic. And, she's always, her high kick's very good. And then when she landed on her, and I was like, this bitch is bad. Yeah. And so I just felt that Ronda Rousey ran into somebody who's just as athletic or more athletic than she is, who doesn't, I'm not saying Ronda Rousey blows up between her fight camp, but I would say, if we went to Holly Holm right now, she would probably, still have abs, she's fit.
Yeah.
And who's a great striker. That's her domain. She's a world champion in boxing. I heard she's had a kickboxing background before too. And that's one thing I say. I always talk to TJ Dillashaw about Ronda Rousey. I'm like, damn it. I was like, oh, Ronda Rousey, her pad work's so good, but I just want to see her fucking kick.
Right, pad work is like her hands were really fast.
Her hands are fast.
And her knees to the body were good, but never kicks.
No, never kicks. I'm like, I just need to see her kick. And TJ's like, bro, she don't need to kick, dog. She don't need to. I was like,
who said this?
TJ Dillashaw. Me and him talk on a daily, not a daily basis, but each time we're together.
Need to kick.
Yeah, he goes.
Everybody needs to kick.
Oh, absolutely. And I was like, I just need to see her kick. I was like, if she had a good jab inside 9 to disrupt Holly Holm's base to change the distance, because the only way Ronda Rousey can hit you is from punches. My legs are longer than my feet, so I can use my kicks to change the distance to disguise my distance to Holly Holm, but she doesn't have that in her repertoire. I don't know how. Yeah. I don't know if Edmund is versatile in kicks, or the clinch game, because each time Ronda clinches, it's always I'm looking to throw you. I'm not looking to clinch, Muay Thai, throw elbows. Oh, shoot down for a double leg takedown. Oh, switch to single leg, drag you off one foot, throw the left hook. She's not versatile in that. So that's when people are like, man, she's the best world-rounded fighter in the world. I'm like, I haven't seen her kick. I haven't seen her do a double leg takedown. I haven't seen her drop to her back and do a heel. So I can't buy into that. She's amazing athlete. What she's done with the skill set she's been given, absolutely amazing. She's blowing out. Her numbers are way better than mine. So what the fuck am I saying?
Well, her athleticism is unquestionable. Her will, her drive, her championship heart, all those are unquestionable. But I think women's MMA is sort of at a level where men's MMA was in like the late 90s. Like maybe the early 2000s, it's like the level of competition is just not nowhere near where it is in the men's division. And in the men's division, in the most competitive weight classes, like yours, 135, 155, 145, you can't be one-dimensional. It's not possible. You have to be able to kick. Yeah. You have to be able to punch. You have to be able to escape submissions. You have to have takedown defense. You have to be able to take people down. Yeah. You have to have everything. Yeah. And in MMA, in women's MMA rather, you didn't have to for a while. But when someone like Holly comes along, now you're going to. Yes.
Or you look at Joanna Jacek, amazing striker. She's developed a way to not get taken down. But when I saw from her last fight, and granted she broke her hand, I don't know what round, but what I saw from that fight, I was like, I know the person who could beat her now.
Claudia Gadelha almost beat her the first time they fought. The first time. Very close fight. Split decision for Joanna.
Yep. I think the person who's going to be able to beat her and dethrone her, it would be Paige Van Zandt.
What? Really?
Wow. The reason
big statement. What about Rose? What if Paige and Rose are going to throw down next weekend?
The biggest thing they're going to throw down next weekend. So like I said, I never like to give out my
predictions.
My predictions because
you have to now because you just said Paige and Paige is going to fight next weekend against Rose.
Well, this is the reason why. Okay. I love Joanna Jacek. Doesn't mean I don't like her.
Right.
The thing that I see from Joanna is that she's a stand-up artist. She hits like a fucking truck. But the thing I see from Paige Van Zandt is that, one, she's still green. She's still new. But the pace she puts on people, the pace that Loretta Valerie put on Joanna when Joanna wasn't hurting Valerie. And I was like, okay, so she's not hurting her, but I can start to see Joanna start to slow down just a little bit. If Valerie had a little more wrestling, a little more diverse, just fighting. I'm just going to fight you. I think, and that's what Paige brings when she fights. She puts on a high pace to where she's in your face. Yes, she has some weird scrambles where, you know, it's like, oh, what the hell happened? But she ends up on top, and then she starts punching ground and pound. I think that pace is going to give Joanna Jacek a problem. Obviously, Joanna is going to prepare for her and have her great takedown defense. But I think if Paige Van Zandt comes in and like, okay, I'm gonna get in your fucking face. I'm not gonna give you a chance to get your jab, set your Muay Thai up. I'm gonna get on you. We're gonna clinch. I'm gonna wrestle you. Like when I did my Muay Thai fight, I didn't fight the guy Muay Thai style. I fucking wrestled him. I got in there, started clinching at him, grabbing his head, and then when he tried to put me off balance, I put him off balance with my wrestling. That's what you have to do with somebody who's a Muay Thai world champion. And I believe Paige Van Zandt could do that if she has the right skills, if she has the right coaching and the right attitude and is ready to get fucking hit a lot.
She's gonna get hit a lot.
Yeah. And with the Rose and Paige, the biggest thing, and the same thing I tell Rose is that she's so emotional. And I told her first, I was like, don't be so emotional. I was like, you're so talented, you're so good, but I feel like you let the emotions get the best of you. And I know it's hard. It's a fight. It's absolutely 100% a fight. And that's why I take myself out of the emotion. I was like, dude, two things are going to happen when we fight. I'm either going to lose or I'm going to win. That's what's going to fucking happen. I'm just going to have to do my best. If I lose, I lose. If I win, I win. That's it.
Well, Paige is very scrappy.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you watch her fight, and there's no question about it. She's enjoying herself. She trains hard, and she's got mad potential. I mean, she just turned 21, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
She's 21?
I think she just turned 21. Because I remember last time we were hanging out, she was like, "Oh yeah, that's right. I can go to the club now and I can drink. I've been to the club already, but I still drink. Well, whatever." So yeah.
That's awesome. Well, she's at a great team too.
Yep,
Alpha
exactly.
male. She's got a lot of people her size, tough guys.
Which can push her to be like, you need, like, there's been times when I fought people and Matt's like, you see this guy right here? When I fought Dotson the first time, Matt was like, you need to be all over him. You need to be on him from once the bell starts, you need to be in his face. What I did the first time we fought, I jumped all over him, and that's what caused me to get dropped a couple times. But got my black ass back up and kept on going forward. And then now the second time we fight, I have a lot better footwork. I'm more seasoned. My skills have kind of harnessed. Now I'm like, okay, I just need to be all over you and not overextend myself to where you can land that big shot. So if Paige can see that, I'm like, okay, Joanna, she needs time. It's like Rafael Dos Anjos versus Anthony Pettis. Anthony Pettis, he has to go out there, get set his kicks up. Okay, he's going to let me set it up. Like Donald Cerrone when they first fought. Anthony Pettis grabbed Donald Cerrone's hands, ran off the cage and threw a flying knee and hit him. Only way you can do that is if you give that person a time to set up. I'm like, we're going to fight. You're not going to have time to look fucking pretty. I'm going to make this a nice, grueling fight. I'm going to get in your face and we're going to wrestle.
That's what Dos Anjos did.
That's what Dos Anjos did.
Yeah, Dos Anjos just ran at him.
Yep.
And he was always first.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what you do. With somebody who needs time to set up, who needs time to test the distance and figure shit out, you get in their face.
Well, he trains with Nick Curson, Dos Anjos does, who is one of Marv Marinovich's disciples.
Okay.
And we were talking about it. He did the podcast, and he was saying, if you watch the fight, what happened was that Dos Anjos was always there just slightly quicker. Like, their skill sets were incredibly similar. Like, incredibly similar as far as, like, how good they both are.
Oh, yeah.
But Dos Anjos was just landing just a little bit quicker, he was there first. He never let Pettis set up. And because of that, he won all the exchanges. He just won virtually every minute of every round, but every time by that much.
That's when you have two great fighters playing with fractions of seconds where it's like, I need to get off. Like Conor McGregor, I think he does a good job when he gets taken down. Like when he fought Chad Mendes, he got taken down and Chad's ground and pound, and he's just, okay, you're hitting me. But each time they got up, Conor was there putting the pressure on him, because you think about it, in fights, so they get up, they're like, good job. Oh,
right.
Let's go back to the center of the octagon and fight. Fuck that. I'm at my distance. I'm going to start fighting now, and you're going to have to deal with the pressure. I'm going to make you pay for taking me down and letting me back up. And that's what I think Dos Anjos did. Conor did against Chad Mendes, and I think you're going to start to see, when people start to get it and have the cardio to do it, you're going to start seeing a lot more of that in mixed martial arts. Yeah,
I think so too. It's really interesting when you look at the progression of MMA from 1993 to today. It's so crazy, because if you we've talked about this before, but if you watch football from 1993 and football from 2015, it's still football.
Yes.
I mean, back then you had Herschel Walker, you had great football players. There was a lot where you could compare and you could look at them and you go, well, these guys are elite athletes. They're playing the same sport. man, you go back and watch UFC 1, and it's not even the same sport.
Yeah.
It's just not. Like, the sport has evolved. Even from 2005, if you go back to the time when the UFC had The Ultimate Fighter, if you go 10 years for the first season of The Ultimate Fighter, you go 10 years ago and then watch now. The difference between a world champions then and world champions now, there's a giant leap.
Yeah, I would say there's more athletic people in the sport, more athletes learning how to fight, to where back in the day, you just had guys like, I just want to fight. I don't care how much I get paid. That's it.
Now, I know you've probably been paying attention to Jon Jones has been powerlifting.
Oh, yeah.
He's like taking it very serious now, and he just deadlifted 600 pounds on Monday and put it up on Instagram. But Daniel was saying that all this extra bulk is not good. He's like, this is probably good for me that he's doing this.
Yeah, I think, you look back to the first time with Daniel Cormier and Jon Jones fight, he goes, fuck, I didn't realize how heavy he was when I had to carry him around. And I think the second time they fight, he's going to have to carry that weight around because Jon Jones is longer. I would say Jon Jones is maybe faster. I mean, they're both still fast, but I think Jon Jones is going to have the upper hand in the striker realm. So Daniel Cormier's going to have to carry all that extra weight around. And that's a beautiful thing, is that Jon Jones, yes, he's put on weight. He's not, big Jon Jones. He's athletic. He's taking his time off more seriously than instead of doing his partying days. So in retrospect, when he gets into camp, he's already way ahead of the curve than he was when he fought DC the first time. So if anything, I think it's worse for DC that Jon Jones is lifting now because he's not out partying and getting fat.
Right. Well, it's pretty incredible that he had coke in his system 3 weeks before, and he still beat Cormier. Like, what the fuck, man?
And that just shows
so
you
talented.
Yeah, that just shows you how talented he is, and that it's fighting. He's able to adapt when he fights. He's able to adapt. Like, even after watching that fight, when I watched DC and Cormier when they fought, I felt like Jon Jones, and I've always felt like this way with Jon Jones. Like when he fought Rampage. Even when he fought Lyoto Machida, I feel like he goes out there, he takes it all in, see what his opponents wants to do, does a knee tap and all that stuff where he kicks people's in the kneecap. But I feel that there's a point where he turns around and goes, okay, I'm gonna fucking finish you now. Like when he broke his foot, dislocated his toe against Chael, I felt like you saw a different, fighter, to where it's like if a wolf, had its prey and it's playing with them, then he was like, okay, I'm going to tear your throat out. That's why I felt like when Jon Jones and DC fought, I felt like Jon Jones just he did it enough to win, but I felt like he wasn't like, I'm going to fucking destroy you now. Like, I'm going to put you on your back, I'm going to take your back and submit you. And I feel like the next time you see Jon Jones fight DC, I think you're going to see that.
Well, the Chael Sonnen fight, he wanted to prove a point. Like, you talk so much shit, and you're not in my league, so I'm just going to go out and fuck you up.
Yeah.
And he went out and fucked him up with his own game. He took Chael down, just beat his ass from there. What's really crazy about that fight is that Jon didn't know that he had dislocated his toe until I was talking to him in the post-fight interview. He looked down and saw his toe and went, oh my God. And then he kind of went into shock. But what was going through my head was like, what would have happened if Chael made it out of that round?
Yeah.
If Chael made it out of that round, Jon might not have been able to continue.
Yeah.
The doctors might have stopped it. His foot was turned upside down where the bottom of his big toe was looking up. It was fucked up. It's amazing that it healed up so quickly. But if Chael had lasted somehow or another through that first round, he would have won the title.
Yeah, he would have like, oh, well, default by Chael Sonnen. You are talking to the best fighter. How does it feel, Joe Rogan? Joe Rogan, I'm looking at your pants right now, and I think you are excited, my friend. Are you? That's exactly what he would have said.
Yeah, he probably would have like speeches planned. He's hilarious. He's the second best shit talker of all time.
Yes.
I always said he was the best until Conor came around. He was the best. He was the best. But like all things, there comes an end, and the new ones come along.
Exactly.
When he almost beat Anderson Silva, that was a perfect example of a guy that was fighting injured. When Anderson had a fucked up rib going into that fight, couldn't stuff the takedown, couldn't stop it, and still managed to pull off that triangle in the 5th round. But if you watch that triangle, like I watched that triangle a bunch of times, it wasn't in.
Yeah. I think, and once he started scooting, it almost turned to an arm triangle, armbar triangle.
The foot was never locked in behind the knee. It was never like, it was never like fucking clamped in.
He never tapped. Remember, he never tapped.
Is that what he said?
Well, remember, Joe, he goes, I didn't tap. What the hell are you doing?
He had that issue before with Paulo Filho. Remember that?
Yep. In WC, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then they fought again. and that was when Filio had lost his fucking mind.
Yeah.
Like,
I remember Matt was there, and he was at the bar, and he was just drinking, just hammering wine that night up before Wayne's, I think it was.
What?
And then somebody,
and he didn't make the weight.
No, he didn't make the weight, and I think somebody else was there with Matt, and then the guy called the guy who was with Matt, and he goes, "Hey man, I'm thinking about gambling on the fight. What do you think?" And this wasn't Matt. This was a guy who was there with Matt, and he goes, "Well, the way the fucking things look, Paulo Filho is at the bar right now drinking fucking wine. So if you're gonna gamble on Chelsea." He goes, "Really? All right, I'm going all in then." And sure enough, he cashed out.
He wasn't even in his room drinking. I mean, he's drinking in public. That's how crazy that guy is. Paulo Filho was a fucking dynamic Brazilian jiu-jitsu artist, though. He was a bad motherfucker when it came to his jiu-jitsu. But he just couldn't control his demons for whatever reason. Whatever those demons were, he couldn't control them. That's a guy everybody forgets about. God damn, his jiu-jitsu was good.
Yeah.
His jiu-jitsu was so tight. Remember watching him fight, I was like, this guy's high level, man.
Yeah. It's very rare you see guys who come from pure Brazilian jiu-jitsu with like Jacare, Bibiano Fernandes, who come from a gi perspective of grappling and be able to transfer well over to mixed martial arts, because I've grappled with a lot of, black belts and no gi in mixed martial arts, and I'm like, don't know how I feel about it. But when I go like a Bibiano, I'm like, holy shit, like this is a totally different level. So, and I think
with the gi or without the gi?
Without the gi.
Without the gi.
Without the gi. Like each time I grapple with Bibiano, it's like when we get, I'd rather be in Bibiano's. Hang on, what is that? I'd rather have Bibiano in my guard than me being his guard.
Wow.
Because I tell him, like, I was like, I don't like, because when we do MMA sparring, like it's different because I just learned this. It's called cooking the beans. The Brazilians call it the cooking the beans. You need to cook the beans, and he's like, you see, my friend. When you take people down, you like to posture up, punch them in the face, pass guard. And I was like, yes, that's how I've been trained. That's how Matt trains me. He goes, okay, now I'm going to teach you something else. And Matt's like, okay, you need to learn this side of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He goes, it's called cooking the beans. You can't just throw beans in a pot and then expect to eat them. They're going to be hard. You need to cook your beans, let them simmer, and then you can eat them. So that's what you got to do in this part of jiu-jitsu. You need to get in there, work it, change your change your pushes, let them get tired, and then once they get tired, then you can enjoy your dinner. And that's what Bibiano does to me. Like when we're sparring, I'm like, okay, baby, all right, whenever you want to pass my guard or do this or this, you can do it. And he goes, don't you worry, Mr. Demetrious Johnson. I'm going to get you. Don't worry about it. Then he fucking gets her. I'm like, son of a bitch. Damn it. So
there's a lot of guys that start out with the gi and they develop great habits for the gi, but terrible habits for no gi.
Agree.
Like a lot of collar control, a lot of grabbing cuffs.
They're looking for something to grab.
Oh my God. And then they don't have those cuffs and they become like a blue belt. It's crazy to see a high-level black belt that never trains no gi, and then they train no gi, and they don't know what they're doing. Yeah. It's crazy.
Or even not even for the lines of no gi of MMA.
Oh yeah, like even worse.
Like I grappled with somebody the other day, and he was pure jiu-jitsu, way bigger than me. But and he had a series. He had to go to Darce to crucifix on your back, and then from there. Take your back and try to choke you out. So once we went for like 2 minutes, I was like, okay, this is your game. I know what it is. And we started grappling. And then when he was in my guard, he tried to go through the middle with his knee. And I was like, okay, you're pure Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I was like, so if this was an MMA fight, I'm right there. I was like, I could just stand up and knee you in the stomach and start punching in the face. And so I can tell when I start going with somebody, like if I was to grapple with, you'd be like, hey man, what'd you grapple with this guy? I'm like, okay, I'll grapple with you. And then I'll feel him out. And I'm like, you're just pure Jiu-Jitsu. And I'm like, because you're not mixing everything up with mixed martial arts into it.
So even like when you're down on the ground with someone just rolling, you could tell that they're pure jiu-jitsu by the way they set things up.
Yes, I can tell. Yeah. If they're pure jiu-jitsu and they've done mixed martial arts. So for instance, like for me, you can tell like when I'm on my back, I'm not a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter. I know how to do my armbar, I know how to do my Kimura's, I know how to do my front chokes and elevate and tip you off and all that stuff. But typically when I'm on my back, I'm doing either two things. I'm trying to set your weight somewhere else so I can get back on my feet so I can start striking with you, or I'm looking to, elevate you, to reverse you, and then get my top game and then start playing my game to looking to punch you. typically, you know, when I go with Bibiano, he has both those styles where he'll cook the beans. I mean, where he'll get heavy when I'm on his back. When he's on his back, he's throwing up the triangle, the arm bar, doing certain stuff where I'm like, okay, this guy, I don't want to be here. I don't like it. I want to pass your guard and get it there. To where the guy we were with the other night, I was like, you're just trying to cook the beans, dog, and it ain't gonna happen. These beans aren't gonna be cooked. And so that's why I was like, okay, you're just pure jiu-jitsu.
Cook the beans is a great statement. I'm gonna hold on to that one because I had heard cooking. Like Hoyce says that before. You know, I've heard him say that. You know, that you got to cook your opponent. You got to cook them.
Yep.
You know?
Or Matt always talks when Matt's one of his trainers, Haru. He would always reference everything in fishing, and so he goes, you know, when you go out fishing, you know, you throw the line out there, and you just don't reel it up like that. You know, you throw the line and you kind of, you know, make the fish take the bait. Then once they take the bait and they bite, you hook them. And so when Matt's talking about striking, you know, you go out there and you start, you know, making him, you know, if you have a counter striker, you want to give him that illusion like, hey, I'm right here. Kind of what Connor does. Connor gets here, you know, he's here, and then when you start striking, he's like, I'm actually right here. And,
right.
I can hit you. So that's where kind of reference of like, I'm a big reference of analogies. When I teach mixed martial arts, when I used to teach, I would always use analogies when I would teach my the students at AMC.
That's Connor also has the shit talking that he does while you're fighting. Which is, you know, I watched that Tyson Fury Vladimir Klitschko fight. Did you see that fight?
I watched it. Yeah.
Vladimir Klitschko looked like dog shit, and I think that one of the reasons why he looked like dog shit is that Tyson Fury guy never shuts the fuck up. Yeah. He didn't shut the fuck up at the press conferences. He didn't shut the fuck up at the weigh-in. Yeah. He didn't shut the fuck up when they were introducing the fight. I mean, when they're doing national anthems, he didn't shut the fuck up. And I think, like, to a guy like Vladimir, who barely speaks English anyway, you know, he's like a stoic sort of a guy. Like, I think that fucks with his head.
It could be. I never forget when Chad was like, he was still talking shit when I was hitting him. And he goes, and I think that can happen. I mean, you know, for me, if somebody was going to talk, I remember when I was getting ready to fight Dawson the second time, he goes, I'm going to talk shit to him in the fight. I'm like, we'll fucking see. We'll see. And he did it. There was a point in time where I was going to, you know, talk shit. I was like, yeah, you would talk shit. Now I hate you. Yeah, take it. But for me,
you were dominating that fight, like, from the jump. I think he never really had a chance to get comfortable enough to start talking shit. Yeah. Because that's you have to, the thing about talking shit is, you have to think about it while you're doing it, and then the opponent has to think about it while you're doing it. Yeah. Like, you have to think about it while you're doing it, and your opponent has to think. Like, there's a whole another element going on in the fight. There's a conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah. I think the only time I've ever talked shit before I fights was somebody said I had a weak-ass ground game. And I was like, this was during the countdown. I was like, okay, I got a weak-ass ground game. Perfect. All right, just gave me more motivation. Beat your ass. And sure enough, we get in a fight, and I'm beating him up, and then I submit him. And I walk away, and I do my thing, and I walk into him, and he was on the ground just, you know, like this. And I said, got on my knees, like, not bad for a weak-ass ground game, huh? And just walked off. And I was like, into that. And the people who knew me knew what I said to him, but...
Was that Moraga?
No.
Who was it?
It was Chris Carriasso.
Oh, Chris Carriasso said that?
Yeah,
really?
he said it. He said it in the countdown. But even, like... And all my opponents, every single time I fought them, to the John Dotson, even though he talked shit about me, to John Rogan, when he talked shit about me, every single time I fight my guys, I go up to him and say, dude, hey, this isn't the end of your career. At the end of the day, it's about being able to take care of your family, pay your bills, and have a career. So this isn't the end for you. Keep on fighting, and, you know, maybe you get another chance at the title, or maybe not. And no matter how much shit they talk about me, then that doesn't matter me.
Well, it's interesting because shit talking is almost a prerequisite. It almost seems like it's almost mandatory. It's rare that someone doesn't talk shit.
I don't talk. Name one time I've talked shit.
You don't.
Yeah,
you
okay.
don't. But it's rare. It's very rare.
Yeah.
Like Luke Rockhold and Chris Weidman. These two are talking more shit before this fight than any other fight I could ever remember Weidman being in.
Yeah, true. And I think honestly it's because of numbers. They want if somebody goes like this, if I say Joe Rogan, you are gonna fight fucking the commentator for fucking Bellator. I don't even know his name.
Jimmy Smith.
Jimmy Smith. There you go. Thank you. You're gonna fight Jimmy Smith. Okay. I'm gonna pay you $2 million. Okay, just to fight. You ain't gotta say anything. You just show up, make weight, post some videos here and there. You can get $2 million, right? If okay, Joe Rogan, here's your contract. Okay, you have a percentage that you can hit, sir. If you can hype this fight up, you're going to get 50% of revenue, my friend. You're like, fuck, you know, Smith, man, he ain't shit. Y'all see me hitting them weights today? I'm going to destroy this guy. He is slow.
Yeah.
Of course. It's
Of course.
a totally different thing.
Yeah.
But if I went to Luke Rockhold, if I went to Chad Mendes, I'm sure Conor McGregor still fucking talk shit. But
He'd talk shit if it was free.
Yeah. Right? But if I went to Josie Aldo and Conor McGregor and Luke Rockhold and Chris Weidman, I'm like, okay, guys, here's the thing. You're going to get $2 million. You're going to get $2 million. Aldo and Conor, you're going to get $5 million. Do your thing. You ain't got to talk shit. Just do whatever you want to do. This is going to get paid. I guarantee you, you still might hear, Luke Rockhold say, Chris Weidman is slow. Like, he would probably say it in more intelligent way, like, if they were like, Luke Rockhold, what are the things you see about Chris Weidman? I think he's slow. I obviously think I am the more better athlete than he is, and I think I'm going to be able to expose that tonight. Instead of him like, Chris is slow. Slow, trying to derogatory. So
Right.
that's my opinion, but then again, I could be wrong.
No, I think you got a point. I think it's there's both things going on because, like we said, there's a psychological game that's going on that will go on no matter what.
Yeah.
But then there's the hype for financial gain.
Oh yeah.
know?
The only reason I bought the Beth Carrera and Ronda Rousey fight is because when she was like, "Don't cry,"
Yeah.
I was like, all right, babe, call Direct TV. Let's fucking order it. You guys see this bitch get worked. That's the only reason why I bought it, because I knew how the fight was gonna go. Like even like the Manny Pacquiao Mayweather. Like I didn't have to buy the fight. I was like, I knew exactly how the fight was gonna go.
Did you really?
Yeah, I knew exactly how the fight was gonna go.
You didn't think that if Manny Pacquiao was healthy that he presented some problems?
No,
Wow, that's
because the way boxing is scored, you don't get if like I guess you get points if I block your shot technically.
Right.
So if I'm here, you throw a hook, I'm like, got that. There's a point for me. Boom, got that. Like when he fought Medina and he was on the ropes getting beat up, if that was mixed martial arts, he would have won that fight hands down. But in boxing, he's blocking on that. You're wasting your punch, which rightfully so. That's how it should be. Yeah, you could throw 500 punches in a fucking round and you only land 10 of them. What the hell you do? What were you doing?
Especially with those big gloves, because you can block with the big gloves better.
Exactly. Even in MMA. Oh man, he threw 500 punches. How many of those fucking things landed?
Right.
You need to be. That's why I'm so big on being technical. Why am I gonna go out there and throw all these punches and do nothing?
That was what was great about your victory over Dodson. When I was interviewing you, go, look at me. I just went 5 rounds and I'm pretty as a motherfucker.
It was true. It was true. Like,
but it was hilarious because you didn't just go. You went 5 rounds with the most dangerous guy.
Exactly, and that's why I bring it to a point where people like, and sometimes I feel people get upset. They're like, from like a promoter standpoint, they're like, oh fuck. This was a fight to make. Dodson's that guy who hits people and knocks them down, and I'm like, dude, you hit hard. I'm not gonna fucking be there. I'm not gonna sit there and let you hit me. People are like, you need to bang it out.
What? That's so stupid.
No, like you want to get more fans.
That's so stupid.
Somebody the other day goes, dude, if you want to make more money, you should go to 135. And I'm like, so let me get this. So you're saying I want to make more money fighting at 135. Is that in my contract? Is that guaranteed? No, it's not. So you're fucking high right now.
Well, that's not right anyway. I mean, your weight class is correct. This is where you belong. It's like you're fighting perfectly at this weight class. There's no problems whatsoever.
Yeah.
People just don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and they don't appreciate the art of what you're doing. Your fight with John Dodson was one of my favorite fights of the year.
Thank you.
It was because it was like if there's a young guy that's thinking about, or a young girl that's thinking about getting into MMA, I will watch this fight. You're watching a guy fight one of the most athletic, one of the most dangerous guys in the sport.
Yeah.
A guy who legitimate one-punch knockout power. A guy who does flips. I mean, he's
way
freak.
more athletic than me. Like
he's a freak.
If you're like, dude, go up and do a backflip and do twisty shit, I'm like, you know what? I can't do it. I'm not gonna lie. Like I cannot run up and do a backflip like that. I cannot do it.
No, he's a freak.
Yeah.
John Dodson is a freak, but you shut it all down. You shut it all down. And you shut it all down not by running away, not by avoiding him, by engaging over and over again, but controlling the distance, controlling the position. Like you were constantly out of position for him. Yeah. I mean, he just couldn't find you. He couldn't find you.
See,
it was
my friend,
masterful.
You are very knowledgeable in the sport to where half the motherfuckers you were watching, they're like,
so boring.
Boring. Yeah.
I wasn't bored for a second in that fight. I was like, God damn, we were watching art.
Yeah.
We're watching a masterpiece.
Yeah.
It was a masterpiece.
I appreciate it.
It's one of the best fights ever. I really believe one of the best performances ever, because I think Dodson is so fucking dangerous.
Oh yeah,
he's so dangerous.
Yeah. And I think, and I can tell there'll be points where like when we're training and I'll just get hit so many times, so much. And I'm like, this is fucking stupid. Like, I'm gonna get knocked out if I fight like this. But then I believe in match training, and I believe what he says, and it worked out good. And I could tell there was some relief off of Matt's shoulder after that fight, because we know how it can end like that, and we know Dotson has the power for one shot. Once it lands, it's like.
Well, he's knocked out T.J. Dillashaw.
Yeah.
I mean, you watch that fight. God damn, he threw some fucking combinations in that fight.
Yeah.
When he knocked out Dillashaw to win the Ultimate Fighter at 135.
He was in position. He was at the angle as T.J. was getting up to finish him off, and that's where it's like Dotson's dangerous. A lot of people don't give him the credit he deserves. I mean, I give him all the credit he deserves. That's why after the fight, I was like, dude, good job of being a father.
If
Congrats.
you weren't the champ, he would be the champ.
Yeah, absolutely. Or Joseph Benavidez. Or Joseph Benavidez.
Or Benavidez, right.
Or those two. So, and I think with Dotson going up to 135, I think it's a good thing for the young and upcoming contenders, because I don't know. They probably could get through him, but from what I've seen and how I fought Dotson and how he brings it, I can tell that he would be just like Joseph, how Joseph's beaten all the contenders.
I also think that at 135 he'll probably be a bit more healthy.
Yes, I totally agree.
I think he cuts too much weight, and I think that there's a lot of guys that they never fight. They're not at their optimum. They're just so drained and dehydrated that they just always feel like flat when they compete. You know, and I don't necessarily think that I've seen him flat at 125.
No.
But I think he was even more dynamic at 35.
I agree, because like you said, you're not drained.
Right.
Like,
he's a muscular dude.
Yeah,
you know?
he's
That's
a big
lot
dude.
Of weight.
Like, he's not as, I mean, I think I'm gonna give myself an inch. I think I got an inch on him. But he's way bigger physically than I am. I mean,
physically? Is that a word?
I just made it up. Mighty Mouse Corporation. We just copyrighted that in 2015.
Physically. Put it in the books. Lineker would have been interesting if he could make that weight.
Yes.
But he just seems to be like very undisciplined.
Very undisciplined. And that's the thing, too. He's not like a very big dude.
Yeah.
But once again, you're starting to see him. I remember.
Just undisciplined.
I remember when we were fighting UFC 191, and my wife's sitting there, and she goes, "Babe, isn't that Lineker over there?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's Lineker." I was like, "Why the fuck's he eating pancakes? Weigh-ins tomorrow."
He was eating pancakes the day before the weigh-ins? Oh, my God.
He fought at 135, so he can do that.
What a dummy.
But he was eating. Hey, he fucking went out there and destroyed Cisco Rivera. They got in that exchange, and obviously
that was a crazy fight. Why the fuck did Rivera fight like that?
I don't know.
I just don't understand that fight. Like, Rivera's talented.
He's good.
Guy.
He went 3 rounds. Well, 2 rounds with Uriah Faber, mixing it up, keeping a distance
until he got eye poked.
Until he got eye poked, and that's the thing. But you get rewarded for fights like that. They got extra 50. You get rewarded for that. So
didn't make any sense.
Why not do it? You got extra $50,000.
I think it was also because Lineker was known as a knockout artist at 25, and he's like, you come up to my weight class, I'm gonna fuck you up.
No, dude, no.
That fucking dude hits hard. Lineker hits hard.
Yeah,
he hits hard. He's built weird.
You're going to hit hard if you throw from the hips. Like, the great example is Artem. Love the guy, very good guy. But when I see him fight, and I'm like,
Artem Levin, is that what you're talking
about?
Yes, the kickboxer of Glory.
No.
Who are you talking about?
Conor McGregor's boy, Artem, an Ultimate Fighter.
Oh,
Artem.
Okay,
he fights here with his hands down. He swings. Of course, you're gonna hit fucking hard.
Right.
You're throwing from the fence. I'm like, okay, the perfect person to beat him is a guy who throws from the chamber, who can wrestle and leg kick. That's the perfect person to be like him versus Anthony Pettis. Anthony Pettis would tear him all day.
Oh yeah, he'd kill him.
Just because it's south of us, he hits hard.
Yeah.
Because you're throwing from your hips.
Right. Well, he definitely hits hard, but it's it's sneaky because you don't see those punches coming.
Absolutely.
And it can be a problem for a lot of guys because as he's moving in, like they're coming at weird angles, you can't predict them.
Yep. And with them small gloves, they get in there and they find their home. You get hit right here, you can't block here, and you get knocked out. And that's where I'm like John Lineker, he hits hard, but once those things come in, it goes boo, and it's wham, 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 wham.
Right.
So somebody to beat him is gonna have to be very technical, very disciplined.
Yeah.
What is this? Lewis Guitnott choked him out. So he kind of throws him in the chamber. I don't know. I just think we have style. If you want to see a exciting fight, okay, I'm gonna put a brawler against a brawler. I'm gonna put a brawler against a technician. People are gonna think it's boring. It's like Rory McDonald. I think he's one of the greatest technicians at welterweight.
I agree.
He stays here, crosses distance, doesn't care what the fans think. He goes, at the end of the day, my job is to win this fight. I'm gonna do it very technically and systematically.
But the Robbie Lawler fight did turn out to be a brawl.
Yes.
Like Robbie sort of forced it into a brawl.
The second one or the first one?
Second one.
See, the thing that I felt bad for, I didn't feel bad for Rory McDonald, but Robbie is a southpaw. And Rory is orthodox, if I'm correct. And he kept circling into his power. Like he would circle, he would circle like this. I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Circle
like,
to his right.
You're not buying the correct real estate, my friend. You need to buy the real estate outside to get your punch line up. So each time they exchange, he won the better exchange, which ended up being his downfall. But that's why I thought it was crazy how the judges had him winning the fight.
Yeah, I don't understand that either. I guess it was the round before the stoppage where he head kicked him.
Oh yeah,
he had Robbie pretty hurt.
Yeah,
but goddamn, what a good fight that was. Woo!
Yeah,
that's one of those fights where, just you watch it and you go, wow, what a fight. But what damage those guys took.
I'm not gonna lie, I was in the stands and I think I was at that fight. And I was sitting there. Yeah, that was the Conor and Chad fight, right? He was 29. I was sitting there. I was like, you know what? I truly hope they take care of him. Like, I truly hope they get taken care of, especially Rory McDonald for all that damage.
Yeah.
Okay, there's not enough money in the world for me to risk my brain damage. Like, I know I'm fighting right now, and they're like, well, why the fuck are you fighting? That's why, Matt, he'll look at me. And there's one time I just fucking brawled out. I was like, I'm just fucking go. I'm just gonna let my hands go. I'm gonna take shots, get shots, have vertigo. And Matt was like, what the fuck were you doing?
That was the Ian McCall fight, right?
The first Ian McCall fight. Matt was like, what are you doing? I was like, I wanted to stand and bang. I wanted, do the whole thing. He goes, no. He goes, your talents you're gifted. You can switch from aspects of mixed martial arts without missing a beat. That is your gift. Your gift is be fast and not let people hit you. That's what you have. You do it better than I do, and you do it better than Brad does. So we need to harness that. And then when he told me that, and I was like, fuck, you're right. And so that's what I've been doing ever since. And that's why you have not seen me yet. Obviously the first Dotson fight, I got fucked up, and I was like, all right, let's fix this.
Do you feel like you're still growing? You still feel like you're still getting better?
Yep. The reason why I say that is because this is the first time out of my camps. Usually I'll let myself, I don't want to say let myself go. I feel like I got fat between camps. But this is the first time between camps that I'm actually lifting heavy. I'm still learning, and I'm maturing as an athlete and as a competitor. I think my last fight against Dotson was the first time I wanted to fight, and I was like, okay, let's see what happens. I shoot. There was no part in the game plan to me pick his leg up and walk him to the cage and punch him and elbow him. We'd never trained that at all. Or me doing this spinning back elbow and hitting him. That stuff I dug up maybe 2 years ago that Matt's taught me. And so Matt is still teaching me stuff that I can use in my fights, and I'm able to implement it in my fighting style. So each time when I look at a fight, I go, okay, I'm fighting this person. I'll get in there and I'll feel the distance, I'll test it, and then I'll be like, okay, let me dig in my toolbox. Okay, this can take care of this. I use it and I try to apply it. If it doesn't work, okay, let me fix, 1 second, dig in there and bring it back up. Oh, this is working. Oh, let me see what. Oh,
so that was just complete improvisation.
Complete improvisation.
And a skill that you hadn't really worked on in a long time.
Yep.
Wow, that's crazy to do that in a title fight. That's what shows you how comfortable you are too.
And that's me becoming more mature and trusting my skills. Like Matt says, my biggest opponent is me, because he goes, dude, you can put people in the fucking Matrix. You realize that, right? And I was like, really? And he goes, yes. And I was like, you do it in here all the time. You can do it. Just do it in a fight. And that's when I was fighting, I think it was Oddbog Tim. He goes, put him in the Matrix. Put him in the Matrix. And I'm like, with them little ass gloves, I'm not comfortable doing it yet, because you get knocked out, and then next thing you know, your paycheck's less, and it's like, oh great, now I gotta survive all this. So I'm hoping one day I can get to that point to where you guys can see where it's like, now that's the fucking Matrix.
Does it frustrate you when you look at what you're capable of doing, and you look at I'm not the only one that thinks you're the best pound for pound fighter in the world, but then you see other people that are fighting that don't have maybe the skill set that you have, that just get all this hype and all this attention and the more pay-per-view buys, and you look at that and go, fuck, what do I have to do here?
I'm not gonna lie, there comes a point in time where you get pissed off about it. It's like, not just me, but I think people around me who believe in my skill set. But you can't let that detour you off your goals. Like, always make fun of people, always make fun of myself. I was like, if I end up breaking Anderson Silva's record, half the fucking world won't even know who I am. And I always call myself the redheaded stepchild from the UFC, where it's like, they're like, if people in the day, they come to see Dana White, like, Dana White, we're interested, pursuing your company, can you tell me some of your great athletes? And he'll be like, oh, we have, Anderson Silva, Conor McGregor, and all these guys. And he'll be like, who is, Demetrious Johnson is his name. They call him Mighty Mouse. He has 13 consecutive title defense. Why didn't you not mention him at all? I don't understand. And they're like, oh, him? Oh, yeah, him. So, I always make fun of myself, like, I'm the redheaded stepchild of the UFC because I don't get the exact same hype as other people, which is totally fine. I'm not out here looking for hype and all that stuff. I'm out here to try to prove that the skill set I bring into the octagon is, if you're going to go in a bar and you're going to get in a fight, you want to bring my shit in there because you're going to fight and you're going to be able to beat this guy up and he's not going to be able to touch you. And you're going to walk out and I'm like, officer, I was not involved in that fight. Look at my face.
Why are your knuckles bleeding, sir?
They are not. I was cleaning up stuff. So that's why I want to present. And it does not translate well over to the fans and all that stuff, which is...
But you finished fights, like you knocked out Benavidez in the first round. You finished Horiguchi with 1 second to go in the last round of a fight you were dominating. You finished Moraga in the same situation, a fight where you were dominating. You still went for the finish and finished him. Yeah. Like, you have exciting finishes.
You're preaching the choir, my friend.
Dude, I don't get it.
I don't get it. Like, and that's the thing too. It's like, eventually, it's almost like eventually they have to... Eventually, hopefully, they'll jump on board. I guess you say.
Hopefully, these
but
fucks.
You know what? No, if it doesn't happen, you know what? I'll keep doing my best and winning, and that's the thing too. Like each time, it could be my personality. Like when I come into fights, they're like, "So, Demetrious Johnson, what do you think about this fight?" And I'm like, I think my opponent's a great fight, a great guy, and whether I win or lose, the outcome does not change. I'm never attached to the outcome of my fights, and when I say that is that. When I went against John Dodson, I wasn't out there like, oh man, we're gonna, oh God, that was a great fight, man. Hey, you're not my wife. How you doing, baby? Hey, let me see you twerk. That's not how it goes. Or if I win, or if I lose, that's not how it goes. Like after I win my fights, I go home, I relax, I spend time with my wife, my children, and then I call up Sean Sherman. I was like, okay, what's next?
So you're still you no matter what.
No matter what.
It doesn't get too high, it doesn't get too low.
Exactly, because at the end of the day, there's gonna come a point in time I'm gonna lose. There's gonna come a point in time to where you're not gonna call me the best fighter in the world. Like it's reality. I hope you do. I honestly hope you do. But forever. Like you're in your deathbed, you're like, babe, make sure on my tombstone you put the greatest fighter ever, Demetrious Johnson. But it's reality. It's going to happen. There's going to be a better Demetrious Johnson maybe 10 or 15 years down the road. So for me, I keep that in my mind that it keeps me calm. It keeps me grounded. It keeps me humble. That way when I go out in the fight and, I'm not on this super high and, if I lose my title and I come back to Seattle and they're like, you got your ass whooped. I was like, yeah, I did. I lost. It fucking happens, my friend.
Yeah.
It's called sports competitiveness. I don't know if that's a word or not, but I just made it up.
Yes, competitiveness is a word.
Good.
I don't know about that other one, though. What was the other one?
Physicality? I don't even know what it was.
Physicality is a word. Physically?
Physically, there it is. Hey, see, you're going to use it. You'll be like, Joe Rogan, what are you about to say? The physically, what the hell did I just say?
I feel like he dominated.
Exactly. So,
if it was a physically contest.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? So that just keeps me grounded. It keeps me humble.
Well, that's a very good attitude. It's a very healthy attitude to take. And I think when the highs are very high, the lows, when you don't get those highs, the lows are devastating.
Absolutely. I think you see it a lot. I try to learn from the champions of the past and even the present when they lose their belt. And I remember Carla Esparza, we're at Welcome to the Show press conference. And I see her, she's holding the belt like this because she just got it. And I'm sitting there and they're about to square us off. And like the fucking UFC belt's heavy. And they expect us to carry it everywhere, right? When I see people like Daniel Cormier, he brings his belt around and shows it off.
Tim Silva used to go to bars with it.
Yeah, exactly, right? I'm at the press conference. I'm like, fuck this. I just throw my belt. And they're like, she's like, oh my, I can't believe you did it. I was like, honey, let me tell you something. The first chance that belt gets a chance to leave you, it's going to leave your ass. And then sure enough, she lost to Joanna Jacek, and I was like, ugh. I should have said it to her.
Well, that was a bad fight for her.
Yeah.
Because she won the title because she won the Ultimate Fighter.
Yep.
And I love the Ultimate Fighter. It's a fun show. It's a great showcase for up-and-coming talent. But the problem is there's just not enough talent.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the people that you see fight on the Ultimate Fighter, they really shouldn't be there.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you.
I watch some of those guys. I'm like, oh, fucking Christ. Who let him on the show?
Dana?
No, Dana. I don't know, man. I'm not a promoter.
No.
I'm the wrong guy for it. I mean, I guess I kind of am in a way when I do those countdown shows and I hype things up. I'm a hype man in a way. But
No. You're very knowledgeable in this sport. That's why I respect your insight on fights, and even Matt Hume does, and even Brad Curtin does. I think you're not giving yourself enough praise, my friend.
Listen, my job's pretty fucking easy. I just watch shit and talk about it. I don't even have to be in shape. I don't have to get up early. Fights don't start till 4. I've done the UFC hungover multiple occasions in the past. It's not hard.
Well, you do an amazing job breaking down the fight, and you're knowledgeable. It's very hard to find knowledgeable people in this sport who break it down, and you're one of them, and you have great charisma when you do it. So when you bring up the perfect example about the Ultimate Fighter, how the talent there isn't there, like, and that's the thing, like, it's becoming more of a show to where it's like, this guy's got hands. I was like, bro, you take that boy into a fucking actual, like, legitimate fight, a guy who throws down the chamber, who can mix it up,
right?
You're both gonna get fucking sink real fast. That cash cow's gonna go. He's exciting, yes, absolutely, but mixed martial arts, you think Bruce Lee was pushing the aspect of being exciting and just getting awards? No, he was trying to push that.
I'll take 2 to give 1, bro.
Yeah, exactly. To where he's gonna use his technical ability to beat you and be finesse about it.
Well, ultimately, the way I always describe MMA is that what it is high-level problem solving with dire physical consequences.
Yep.
And the best guys are guys like you that don't take on those physical consequences. You solve the problem, and you do damage. Like at the end of the fight, Dotson was busted up. His face was all swollen. You look fine. You solved
prettier than a motherfucker, please?
Yes, exactly. That's what you said. Yeah. You solved the problem. I mean, and it's a very complex problem, and it's so difficult to do because it's improvisational. You're dealing with incredibly fast people, especially at your weight class. You're dealing with the fastest people in all of MMA, and you're dealing with all these different possibilities. There's so many variables. There's takedowns and kicks and punches and elbows and clinches, and you don't know what he's going to do while you're trying to do what you're going to do. You're trying to push the pace, and you got to cut angles. You got to get the fuck away from him, and you have to have all this knowledge in your head of what to do. Oh, he's doing this. That means that's coming next. I'm not going to be there. Fuck that. And but it's like you have to have a fucking just gigantic database of knowledge.
It's not easy. I'll tell you that right now.
So when you see these guys fight on tough, and they're like, "I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna bang," like, "Oh God," you're like, "This is white belt shit." This is
who was it? A guy he fought Juicy J, and he was like, and he ended up on the UFC Tonight show, and he was sitting there and he was like, "Yeah, I don't like the lighter guys. They don't do it for me. They just do this." And he goes, "I like to bang." And I was sitting there in my couch. I was like, "Well, my friend, you're gonna have a very fucking short career
and a really weird end of your life."
Yeah,
well, you don't know where your keys are. You don't know who your wife is.
Exactly.
Is this my house? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Let me in.
And you know what? At the end of the day, I would like, you know what? You might bonus maybe 10 times. You might have you might make more money than me at the end of the day, just because you went out there and you sold shitload of tickets and you got fight night every single night and all that stuff. But you know what? I want people to, when I die and they dig up, old DVD tapes and they stumble across me and they see me moving. I was like, oh, I want them to be able to sit there. I'm like, holy shit, this guy's moving fast. He's on the other side of the opponent. He's on the other side of the shoulder and he's landing combinations. Holy shit, he can wrestle too. He just throw a fucking armbar. I'm like, who is this person? What was his background? Like, you look at Matt Hume and you try to find out who was Matt Hume's coach.
Who was Matt Hume's coach? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm a Matt Hume fan. I don't even know who his coach is.
Exactly, and that's I don't even know who. I know one of his coaches, but he's a great wrestler. He has a very long stint kickboxing. And when you look up that stuff and you look how good he fought when he fought not Pat Miletich. What's his guy? He's Josh Burnett's coach now.
Eric Paulson?
Eric Paulson, that fight. And Matt Hume, self-consciously, he tells all the time, he goes, I had to cut him. I knew he was not going to stop because I hit him so hard that I knew self-consciously I needed to cut this man to have this man stop coming at me. And sure enough, he did the knee, cut him right there, and they're like, oh, back in the day, they cut when there was blood because they didn't have, control of all the
athletic commission
and the diseases and stuff. And they're like, oh, the fight's done. And Matt was like, good. He's finished. And I want people to look back at in my career like, this guy was fucking good. He can do it all. And so when he said that, when he goes, I just don't like the little guys. They just don't do it. I'm like, whatever, bro.
Well, people like to say stupid shit like that, but there's also people that are just dumb. There's people that are like, I don't like fine cuisine. I like McDonald's. There's a lot of people that love McDonald's fries. It's my favorite food, bro.
Absolutely.
I like fucking Big Macs and fries. I like to hit my head against the wall.
Yep,
there's just always going to be people that have shitty taste.
Yep, absolutely. I'm like, you, my friend, have shitty taste. That's what you have.
I mean, it's true. I mean, if you can't appreciate a virtuoso at the most dangerous sport, you can't appreciate that because, you just want guys to stand and bang. Mm-hmm. That's ridiculous.
And don't get me wrong, I can bang. Like, if I needed to bang and fight and drag it out, I can absolutely do that.
Right.
Am I going to appreciate it the next day? Absolutely not, because I've done it and I'm like, what day is it, babe? What day? No, it never got that worse. No, I should never said that. But there's times where I'm like, babe, can you come wash my ass? I can't, because I've had surgery multiple times on my right hand. I've had, labrum surgery, and that's just from wear and tear and hitting the opponent the wrong way and hit him on the skull. Mm-hmm. To where it sucks. It sucks to be in a cast. Like I remember Cub Swanson. I remember he told me that he's broken his jaw multiple times. Yeah. And after one of his, I think it was the Frank Yeager fight.
Max Holloway, he broke his jaw in that fight too.
He broke his jaw. I remember the Frank Yeager fight, and he was like, I wasn't even going out when he had me in the choke at the end. I was like, you know what? I've had a broken jaw before. I don't want it again, so I fucking tapped. And I was like, dude, kudos to you, my friend. You don't have to worry about having your jaw wired shut for 6 months because you don't want to tap.
I think until you finished Horiguchi, that was the latest stoppage by submission ever.
Yep.
Yeah, I think, but you got, how the fuck's anybody going to beat yours?
You know what?
1 second.
Unless it goes 6 rounds. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Each time it goes 5-5s and they're like, oh, and I hear the clapping. I hear people, and they start running. I'm like, no.
Don't you do it,
tie
you fuck.
Yeah. Don't tie them when they go like, I'm like, that was a great fight, right? It's a good fight.
What when you see boxing, which is not nearly as exhausting as MMA, but they fight 3 minutes.
Yep.
And then MMA fights 5 minutes. Like, what do you think about that?
It's definitely different because we have a boxer in our gym and he just likes boxing. I'm like, dude, you should come to mixed martial arts. Like, your hands are that good, but he can't wrestle or anything like that. And the stamina he has to throw so many punches when we spar, it's incredible. But when he hits me, it's totally different because when I hit him, I'm hitting him with my body instead of him just like pop, 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 pop. Like it's not the same.
So he's an amateur boxer. So
he's
an
amateur
boxer.
So he's trying to score. I mean, he's trying to finish, but like when I hit, I'm hitting with my body. I remember they did that sports science, like who hits harder, a boxer or MMA fighter, to regenerate from our legs, and they are too. But we're trying to, it's just different. So when I'm sparring him, I'm sparring him like a mixed martial artist. Like I'm moving my legs, and I'm switching. I'm about to throw a kick. I'm loading my hips up. It's hard for me to break that habit because I'm trained that way. Like when I came into mixed martial arts, it wasn't like, hey, you're gonna learn how to box. Hi, I'm your boxing coach. Hey, Joey Garcias. I am your jiu-jitsu coach. Hey, I'm Silva. Or hey, I'm your Muay Thai coach. It was like, I'm Matt Hume.
Well, you got real lucky in that regard. Real lucky.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of guys out there that are qualified to do that. That all-encompassing game plan guy.
Yeah. And so now when I do my boxing sparring, it's harder for me to do it because I can do it and I can get the upper edge, but it's like I'm getting fucking tired because we're boxing and I'm just throwing punches. I need to throw some kicks
to mix it up.
To mix up, I need to get you in my clinch too. And so it's hard, but I mean 3 rounds. 3 minute. How many rounds they go? 12 rounds
in a world title fight.
Title round. That's a lot of rounds. I mean,
it is.
It's a lot of rounds.
It is definitely a lot of rounds, but it's interesting that they only fight 3 minutes, and it's not nearly as tiring, as MMA.
Yeah, you see guys come out the corner. Floyd would sit down and he goes, "I love you, Dad. Remember everything you taught me."
He's the best at not getting hit ever in the history of boxing.
Game. Yeah. The name of the game is hit. That's the name of the game in mixed martial arts too.
Yep.
Hit and not to be hit.
Yep.
Submit somebody and not to be submitted. Not when somebody's idea was like, I need to get fucking hit to be exciting.
Well, yeah, I think it came from the Ultimate Fighter. It came from Forrest Griffin and Stephan Bonner.
Yep.
That fucking fight was awesome.
Awesome.
But
yeah,
not for either one of those guys.
yeah.
I mean, Forrest is broken up right now. I mean, his body's a mess.
Yeah.
And, you know, he had a wild, crazy, exciting career, but ultimately you can't use your body like a battering ram. Like if you have a car and it's an awesome race car, but you want to enter a demolition derby with it, that fucking car is not going to last.
No, it's not.
It's just there's no way around it. There's no way around it.
No, and I think a lot of people are seeing the Ultimate Fighter and they're getting that view of this is what somebody the other day they said the Ultimate Fighter is degressing the sport, and I was like,
who said that?
I'm not gonna give you his name.
Pass that bottle opener, man.
Oh yeah, of course.
Thank you.
He said that the Ultimate Fighter is degressing.
Want another one of these?
I haven't even finished this. It's we're such deep thought and conversation.
Very deep.
I can't even
Extremely deep.
sip it. But he said the Ultimate Fighter is degressing the sport, and I was like, really? I was like,
is that a word? Degress? I'm not sure that's a word.
It's degressing. It's degressing. Okay.
Degressing? Is that a word?
It's going behind. Yes, it's the goddamn
regressing.
word. Okay.
Regressing.
Regress.
Is degressing a word? Jamie, look that shit up.
Google it, my friend.
Degress.
Well, the sport is.
I understand. I understand exactly what
well,
you're saying.
then there you go. So it is a word. Then damn
yes.
it.
Well, physicality wise, no. Physically,
degression.
Degression is a word.
Oh,
okay.
Well, I just threw a little mighty spice into it. So
I get it.
So
Mighty
it's
spice.
degression. It's going backwards, and and people are like, and I said, and I was all ears. I was like, explain yourself. I'm like, what makes you say that? And he goes, well, you think people are being on national television on Ultimate Fighter, and they're fighting to get a contract, and they have holes in their game, and they're not fixing those holes before going into the house. Instead of if I that was one of the things I would have a hard time coaching Ultimate Fighter, because I'll dissect a person. I'm like. And I'm like, okay, let me see you fight. I'm gonna go with you. And I'm like, okay, you have a hole here, a hole here. So, are you looking just to fight to make 2 paychecks, 3 paychecks? If so, then I guess you're in the right area. But if you're looking to be a world champion, if you're looking to be able to provide for your family, I mean, I always say all the time. When I was in the UFC, when I fought for the world championship at 135, I was still working a fucking full-time job. And they're like, you're fighting for a world championship. You shouldn't be working. I was like, yeah, because. What if I've lost a fight, so now I made what $14,000.
Is that what you made to fight for the world title at 135?
Yes, it's all public record. So
God damn.
And then that's why
that's depressing.
So that's why I was still working even when I fought Yamamoto. I mean, I made my money, and then I was like, okay, every single fight I had in UFC up to the Dominic Cruz fight. When I broke my leg in Miguel Torres, I was like. I was in Vegas. It was almost like a vacation for me. You know, when Matt will call me and goes, hey, the UFC wants to know if you want to fight Yamamoto. I was like, can I call you right back? I need to call work to see if I get the day off, please.
Wow.
And I will call my boss, Pete Bohockey, and I'm like, hey, so the UFC called. They want to know.
What was your job? What were you doing for a living?
I work in a paper mill, construction. So we built basically sonic tubes. So and we also built V-boards. So if this microphone came to you and it was in protection, it would be like a V board that would protect it, and that's what I was the guy who made it. And let's say you needed 2.5 inches or 3 inches, 4 inches, 5 inches, whatever. I would take it, do the math, put it in the computer, and sit there, and it would go choo-choo, choo-choo, and I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there's 10. There you go. And do that all day. And then now I have my phone on me, and Matt will call me and goes, hey, the UFC wants to know if you want to fight. And I'm like, I'll run into the bathroom and like, hey, what's up, man? And he goes, hey, the UFC wants you to fight Yamamoto on February 5th, my debut in the UFC 2011. I say, hey, let me see if I can day off from work. I'll go into my office and I say, hey, Pete, what's going on? He goes, what's up, DJ? And I'm like, hey, do you think I can have a week off to go fight in Vegas? He goes, yeah, let me see if I can work it out. And then I'm like, all right. Now I'll come out and say, hey, don't say yes. I don't know yet, okay? And he goes, all right, well, just let me know, okay? And then sure enough, my boss goes, yeah, you get a week off. And I was like, hey, I can go. And he goes, all right, I'll let Sean me know you can fight. That's how it was.
Are you still friends with your boss?
Yeah, we still hang out all the time.
He must be happy.
Oh yeah, he said he would fire me before I quit fighting and doing my real job, because in reality that's what's paying my fucking bills.
Right.
That check was coming every single week. It was keeping the lights on. Fighting was not. So that's why I tell kids all the time, like, man, I want to be just like you. I was like, no, my friend, be better than me. Go to college, get education. Don't try to put yourself in a boat to where this is all you have to do. You need to have, now it's worked out for me where I'm starting to, branch out and try to do other things. But that's how the reality was. And so that's why I worked full time.
Well, a lot of people believe that if you have a safety net, you will fall. A lot of people think that it's best to not have anything to back up on.
No. You need a fucking safety net in this sport. Even in football.
Right.
You see it all the time, Like, let's take a good example. Colin Kaepernick. He started out amazing. At one point in time, him and Russell were considered...
I don't know who he is.
Colin Kaepernick, he's the San Francisco 49ers quarterback.
Okay.
Very fast. He at one point in time in his career, he was talked about the greats with Russell Wilson. You know who that is, right?
I don't know anybody.
Okay, well, Russell...
The only way I know of a football player is if they get arrested.
Oh, okay. Well, unfortunately, so that's totally fine.
Or they become like so famous, like they somehow or another surpass the sport. They, you know what I mean?
So a good example...
they have to eclipse the sport. They have to be like... You have to be like an Allen Iverson for me to know who you are, or Kobe Bryant.
So, damn, it's so hard to use it because so basically this guy, he was really good at one point in his career. He was fucking killing it, running fast, outrunning people trying to get him down, and then now he's not doing as well. And so, let's say he made his money in NFL, and let's say he's done. They cut him. You're done, and he didn't have a college education. And he wasn't smart with his money. He would basically become a bum if he wasn't smart with his money. So that's why I always tell people it's good to come into mixed martial arts with a great college education or something, because 9 out of 10 times it might not work out for you.
Right.
And that's why I like to tell people that. Like, people, they get discouraged, and my promoters are like, dude, you can't, you need to say this that you want to be like Demetrious Johnson. You want to fight like me, absolutely, but you want to make sure you have a college education. It's something to fall back on, and that's what Matt told me. When I lost the title to Dominic Cruz, he was like, I think it might be time for you to go to school, get an education. And I said, hey, Matt, I'm going to tell you straight up, bro, I'll fucking die in a warehouse if I go back to school. And he goes, all right, as long as we're clear with that, because
you'll die in a warehouse if you go back to school?
No, I'd rather die in a warehouse.
Oh, you'd rather die in a warehouse than go back to school.
Because school wasn't my thing. I just didn't like school. I believe in that if I put 10 years in this job, that I should be well compensated. And you can spend 4 or 5 years in a college education, get your college degree, and you go out and try to find a job, and they're like, no, you're not. I like the Starbucks effect, the Starbucks thing. And have you heard it?
No.
So
sell shitty coffee and push out local shops.
No. So it's like if me and you both went to a Starbucks, and if me and you apply for a job, and you're like, I'm Joe Rogan, I have 15 years as a barista, I know how to make coffee from your cappuccino to triple shot or whatever, and I'm like, I have no coffee experience whatsoever. They're like, I'm going to take you, Demetrious Johnson. And people are like, what? You take Joe Rogan, he has 15 years. And it's like, well, I had to break his fucking bad habits. He's not making Starbucks coffee. He's not making Starbucks coffee the way I wanted it to taste.
What fucking habits are you going to have to break?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about brain surgery here, people. Jesus Christ. Make me a fucking latte, you freak.
So, but that's the Starbucks effect. And I believe in that. Like, I believe that if a person puts his time in, that he should be well compensated, to where that's not how it is in the world nowadays.
Or maybe I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. So, for you, the idea of going to school and putting in all that effort without a definite reward just wasn't exciting.
At my time and day, yes.
Right, but what if there was something that you wanted to do that you had to get educated in? Like, say, if you wanted to be a journalist,
or astronaut,
for instance, or an engineer.
Yeah.
Where you literally had to get an education.
Yeah, if it was the point in time and it seemed interested to me, then I would have done it. But like, I went to school, and when I was in high school, I was doing architectural drawing. I drew up floor plans. And, if I see a floor plan, I can see, the foundation and the J plate and all that stuff. And I was good at it. You know what my final was for that class? I built a strip club. I call it Chicken Strips, my friend.
Chicken strips?
Chicken strips.
Why chicken strips?
You get all the chicken strips you want and get lap dance at the same time.
So you free chicken strips?
No, shit ain't free. You got to pay for that.
You pay for the chicken strips,
you come in there, you pay, all you can eat chicken strips. And I had,
oh my God.
I had a strip club. I had the poles right there.
Does it have its own slaughterhouse connected to it where you get your chicken?
No. No, but that was
my next move.
No, but that was my that was my thing. That was my kind of like my niche. You know, I
Right.
loved drawing up floor plans. So
For strip clubs.
No, that was the final. Now it was gonna be chick
I
strips. If
understand.
I would have made, if I make millions of dollars, if Conor McGregor, he might want to invest in this. It could be blow the roof off with it.
What year was this?
This was in 2005.
I think today you probably wouldn't be able to do that in college because the social justice warriors would come down on you for wanting to subjugate women in your horrible establishment. Oh, the patriarchy continues. Demetrious Johnson wants to keep women prisoner.
No. They get to go home.
Oh, yeah. Show your pussy all day for daddy, and then you can go home. I see what's up. I see how you work it.
It was very comfortable. Okay.
It was a comfortable environment with free chicken, or a lot of chicken.
Absolutely.
So what's the piece of paper, man? What do you got here?
All right, here we go. So obviously, one of the new things I've been doing is I stream on Twitch now, and
You stream your video games, right?
I'll tell
You used to have a contract with Xbox One till Reebok came along and fucked everything up.
Yeah. So,
Right.
that was going on. Obviously, then the Reebok deal came in, so we obviously Xbox, they didn't want to be part of. You know, they wanted that prime spot
Right.
on pay-per-view, or even Fox. They actually preferred Fox over pay-per-view because Fox gets way more views.
Yeah, millions of people.
Millions of people. So when that came in, they're like, you know, my buddy was like, well, I think this comes to a crossroad, my friend. And I was like, dude, I totally understand. So that's when they left. But I'm still cool with the guy. I actually just talked to him. He's actually going to be down here tonight, possibly. So
Did you see the latest Reebok fuck up?
the
They made Anderson Aldo t-shirts, and they wrote Anthony Pettis, his nickname, as the Mauler.
Are you serious?
Yes. I swear to God, it feels like someone inside of Reebok is trying to sabotage the company. It's so retarded. The mistakes are so frequent and so bad. The misspellings of the names over and over and over again. It's like, do you have a single person that's paying attention to that
I mean,
shit?
there's a lot of people, but I understand they could have one person. Like, your job is to make sure before the product goes out, you check the fucking
Well,
name.
who the fuck is the guy that said yes to any of those shirts? How about that guy? Who's that guy? Who's that guy that looked at those kits? Who's the guy that told them they should wear white shorts? Do you know there's blood and dirt and all kinds of shit? And
Hey, that's why I rock the black, my friend. Black and
that's a
gold.
good move.
Yeah,
it's a very good move.
It is. But the whole thing, so yeah, that happened with the Xbox.
The shitty
and Reebok.
design, I mean, all the above, right?
It happens, man.
God damn it.
But then when it came to the Xbox deal, that kind of fell out, and then the Reebok deal came, and so now that I feel like I'm in this point in my career to where people are like, man, you should make your shirt, you should do this. So
Right.
but
I
was
like that shirt. Is that a Mighty Mouse shirt?
This is the first Mighty Mouse shirt I've ever done in my hotel
That's
life.
dope. I like
First
it. Can
shirt.
I get one of them bitches in a large?
Absolutely, you
Or an
can.
XL?
They're in production right now, so
Ooh,
we'll get it. We'll take
please
care of you.
send it.
But now I feel like I'm at a point in my career to where a lot of people say, "Oh, he's boring. He doesn't let him open himself up to the fans." And so I was like, you know what? All right. I started streaming a couple times on Twitch, and then things went well with Twitch. And so now when people are like, "Oh, you don't open up yourself friends," I'm like, "Bro, I post on Twitter. Will you come ask me any fucking question you want live on Twitch, and we can talk."
You can make money on Twitch, right?
Absolutely, you can. If you get enough subscribers and you get enough followers, you know.
What is
run
your Twitch
ads.
handle so we can get you some subscribers?
My Twitch handle is Mighty Mouse UFC 125. So you have
Pretty
to go.
simple.
Yeah, pretty simple. So that's it. But if you don't know how to do it, it's www.twitch.tv/Mighty Mouse UFC 125. But so that's like my kind of like my side gig that I like to do. Interact with my fans because I've always played video games in between training sessions.
Right.
Leading up to Dotson fight, second Dotson fight.
What's your game? What do you play?
I play all types of shit. I play Dark Souls 2. I play Dota 2. I play
Dota?
Dota 2. It's a MOBA. It's a multi-online battle arena. It's
Christ.
It's fucking weird. It's when because when I found Twitch, I was rocking my son to sleep, and I was like, "This is good." And I was like, "I want to watch TV. I want to watch video games." And I started reading. I was like, watch video games while rocking my son to sleep. I'm like, okay. Now I start watching people play video games, and that's how I fell into
It's
it.
oddly enjoyable watching people play video games.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. It is.
It is.
It is.
I used to watch people play Quake all the time. I loved it.
Yeah, you see? I mean, I think it's a taste. You have to have a taste for it. So
Yes.
But this is from the Mighty Squad. My boys, the Mighty Squad.
Okay.
My subscribers, I like to give them perks, to be able to ask the wonderful Joe Rogan certain questions. So we already kind of hit on this already, but the first one was thoughts on the IV ban. You gave your perspective of it already.
I don't like it, but I don't like people cutting too much weight either. I don't like either one. I think you should be able to fight at your own weight. I feel like, what do you weigh now?
I weigh 141. 141.
What do you weigh when you're in perfect shape?
141.
Okay. You should be I think that's what you should fight at. And I think everybody should fight at the weight that they're in perfect shape. I think the weight cut is contrary to what MMA and martial arts should be about in the first place. It shouldn't be about having this it's like legal cheating. It's really what it is. It's like you're pretending you're 155 pounds when you're really 175.
Yep, absolutely.
It really is like cheating. I don't like it. I think it's dangerous. I think it's bad. And I also think it's stupid because everyone's doing it. That's what makes it stupid. Because, like, if you were the only one, if you really weighed 175 and you were cutting down to 155, like, and everybody else was just a natural 155er, well, you'd have a crazy advantage because you get to balloon up to 175.
No.
But fucking everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
So there's zero advantage.
Yeah.
Everybody's just weakening themselves the day before they fight in a fucking cage.
Yep.
And to me, that is so counterintuitive and so stupid. But I don't know how to stop it at this point in time. I literally don't.
I don't think you can.
I think the only way to stop it is to tell fighters, tell everyone to get in shape and to have like a massive summit. And you have a massive summit and you have everybody, have all the fighters. You got to pay them to do this too, by the way. You should fucking pay them to do this. Get everybody in shape, give them a paycheck, say, I want you guys to all come to Vegas. We're going to measure your water. We're going to measure your body fat. We're going to measure your actual weight. And champions, we're going to give you a pass. We're going to give you every champion. No, but this is the pass. You are still the world title. Like, say if you're the world title holder at 125. If you weigh 141, you still will go into that fight as the world flyweight champion. Okay. And you will compete against people who are also naturally at that weight class. And I assume it'd be everybody in that weight class. I assume it'd be guys like Lineker and Ian McCall, and there'd be a lot of guys that are very similar to you when they're at their optimum weight class. You know, obviously between 5 and 6 pounds or whatever the hell the difference is. And then make the weight classes like that. Yeah. And take all these guys and whoever it is, like Weidman apparently is getting down to like in the 190s now. Really?
That's what I do. 8 weeks out, no booze.
Yeah. Cleaned out, no boozing, cleaned up his diet, and he's been really light for this fight. Yeah. Apparently he cut out boozing. 93, 194, which is really crazy for a guy that has been like well over 200 pounds. Mm-hmm. And I think that if this was done and done correctly, where you really monitored people, made sure there was no cheating, and say, look, you know, Tyron Woodley, this is the weight you should be fighting at. Matt Brown, this is the weight you should be fighting at. Yep. And much more weight classes. Yep. Much more.
And I think they did it with high school wrestling because they do the hydration test cut. And I think another thing they could do is, you know what, you weigh in and you fight in the same day.
The problem with that, though, is that guys are still going to cheat. They're still going to cut weight.
They're going to get that ass whipped, and then they're going to find out.
But they could die.
That's their, well, I was going to say that's their fucking fault. But you know what? It's simple. It's simple. Yeah. It's like when someone's like, oh, I didn't make it. I was like, dude, as a fighter, we have 2 jobs. Fucking make weight and fight. Right. If you can't do one of them, then you shouldn't be able to do the second one. Right. So that's why I'm like, I agree with you. I think if they did the hydration test and like, but I think a lot of people, if there was no money on the line, if you were still going to get paid, I think they would be more excited for that.
Yeah, I think that it's really counterintuitive to performance. I think when you're asking guys to fight at their best, the idea of dehydrating the shit out of yourself the day before the fight, like Conor before he fought Chad Mendes, he looked like an AIDS patient.
Oh yeah.
He looked like a guy who had been like on a ship floating in the ocean for a month, just eating his own toenails. It looked fucking horrible. He looked terrible. Yeah. I think that the best way to accomplish that would be to, you know, to have, like, they have this UFC campus that they're building.
Yep, I saw it.
They need to have like they need to have a comprehensive approach to stopping weight cutting in the sport, and I think one of the best ways to do that is to give guys a lot more options. I think, and Dana doesn't want to do that. He thinks the amount of champions they have is enough, but I wholeheartedly disagree with that.
Well, I think they're going to come in more times of how many pay-per-views are going to sell, the money-wise, and all that stuff. Because
man, the pay-per-views are going to be good if the fights are good.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's right.
When fights are good, pay-per-views are good. But people like watching fights. They don't give a fuck if there's, it was all better when you had 8 champions. Just shut the fuck up. Yeah. It's good when there's fights. The fights are good. Yeah. You know, it doesn't matter what weight class and When you have 85 to 205, you got a fucking problem. When you have 205 to 265,
that is a huge
you got a
gap.
giant problem.
Yeah.
Those are two giant problems right there. 20 fucking pounds is 20 T-bone steaks. Yeah. Think about 20 T-bone steaks. That's the difference between you and the next guy. Whether you shrivel it out of your body or whether you pack it on your body, that's crazy. It's crazy. There should be every 10 pounds minimum.
Is that how it is in boxing?
More. 7, like 47 to 54. So there's there, and then there's 54 to 60. That's another 6. There's 60 to 68. That's 8.
Yeah.
You know,
they don't seem to have a problem making
68
money.
to 75. That's 7. I mean, there's a lot of fucking weight classes in boxing, man.
Well, if that happened, I'll be fucking 2-time champ because I'll go up and fight at like 130, 137 or 138.
Yeah. That
No.
would be healthy.
131, 132.
And they would weigh you, they would check you, you would be healthy. Yeah. And I think there can be a way to cut it out of the sport, but I think extreme weight cutting was brought into the sport by wrestling. Yeah. And wrestling has figured out how to cut it down substantially. I think MMA should try to do the same.
Yeah, wrestling, they don't even fucking play. I remember one of my buddies, he was like, he was in high school and he goes, I'm doing my hydration test. I'm gonna super hydrate and I'm gonna cut myself. And he went to the doctor and they're like, nope, go back home and fucking come in hydrated and we'll let you know. Then he came in and tested him and like, okay, you can lose 3 pounds and then you have to wrestle up a different weight class at the new year because you just get a pound allowance at the new year because they take in consideration of the holidays. But I like your insight. Nice. I agree with you. All right, second question. How long do you see yourself commentating for the UFC?
I don't know. My contract's up in August. I might leave in August.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it's possible. Oh. I like doing shit that scares me.
Yeah. He's all sitting there and goes, I'm in fucking front of Conor McGregor. Kill me right now.
No, I mean I like doing stuff that I like taking chances in that. Like I like walking away from things. I like doing that. I like experiencing new things. Like, I think you open up new doors. Your mind starts firing in a different way. I'm not a big fan of doing the same shit over and over and over again. Okay. Like when I do stand-up comedy, I have to go to different places. I have the Comedy Store that's like my main spot, but I like to go to like weird spots. I like to do I'll do a weird open mic night in the middle of fucking nowhere. I think it's really important. I like to go to new places. I like to travel. I like to just get in my car and drive places.
Good for
just
you,
get
man.
out of my car and walk around and check out places. I think you got to experience different things in life, and I like to plan those things out. And I've been doing the UFC for a long time. I will never stop being a UFC fan.
No.
That's not going to happen. I love the sport. But there's probably going to come a time where I don't do commentary anymore. And it might be sooner than later. Or I might not. I mean, August might roll around and I might say, you know what, man, I fucking love this. Let's just keep doing this. Yeah. But I might not, too.
Shit, you might not show up to UFC 194. You might like, fuck it, babe. I'm staying home.
I definitely... Definitely, that's not going to happen. I'm going to be there for that, 100%. I love it, man. It's not that I don't love it. It's just that I like doing a lot of other shit too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I probably have something wrong with me. I probably have like some OCD or ADD or something. Whatever, if I was a kid, they'd probably put me on some shit. But I think that I just like experiencing different things. I'm constantly trying to absorb new information. I'm always watching documentaries and reading books and reading things. Like I like new stuff all the time. So
nice.
I don't think that my love for MMA will ever die off, but it's very possible that I won't want to do it as a career sometime in the future.
All right. Okay, that's a good ass answer. All right, third one. What is your favorite memory in the UFC?
I don't have one. I definitely don't have one. I have too many awesome memories. There's too many. To be able to do that for the past 13 years, it's been amazing. It's a great job, man. It's incredible to go there and watch the all-time best combat sports athletes in the world in mixed martial arts compete. And to be right there for most of the best fights ever and to call them, I mean, I'm extremely honored. So I don't have any one perfect memory. Gotcha. I just have a lot of great ones.
Okay. All right. What is your favorite MMA fight to call? What has been your best MMA fight to call when you...
Again, I don't think I have one.
I'm sorry, I didn't even ask that fucking question.
But it's all right. I don't think I have one. There's been some amazing ones, man, like Dan Henderson versus Shogun, but that's for all the wrong reasons.
Yes, they're fucking.
just beating the fuck out of each other. Whereas like your fight against Dodson was like for all the right reasons.
Yeah.
You know, I think I like both of those kinds of fights.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna be look, they're gonna do that shit whether I'm there or not.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not the dad. I'm not the boss. I'm not the fucking king of the world. They're gonna do it. I can't stop them. Like if some asshole wants to jump over the Grand Canyon in his fucking dirt bike, and I'm there, I'm going to watch. I'm not going to go, I'm out of here. This is stupid. I'm going to go, let me see if this dude lands on his head. I'm going to watch. I don't necessarily...
You all sit in the car where you went up like, don't you see it?
I don't want to hear the crunch of his skull hitting an overhang, you know, when he misses the third flip. But I don't, you know, I can't stop someone from fighting like Chico Rivera's and John Lineker.
Yeah.
When Francisco Rivera fought John Lineker and those guys went to, part of me was, because I really like Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to go, what the fuck are you, don't do that, man. Don't do that. Move, kick his legs, you know, throw combinations, catch him with his hands down, winging from the hips. Don't stand right in front of him and do his shit. Yeah. But the other part of me goes, oh shit, this is crazy. I mean, part of me loves it. Part of me loves it, and part of me, the part who appreciates an artist like yourself, I don't like it because I don't want more people to emulate that, because I don't want to see more people all fucked up.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Faber versus TJ Dillashaw.
Faber versus TJ Dillashaw. Man, there's a lot of emotions involved with those two fight, huh? I don't know. I'm very torn on that. I like both of those guys, but I'm a big fan of loyalty, and I do not like when someone just gets up and leaves a camp that has been so good to them, like Alpha Male has been. But I also feel like with a guy like TJ, he had this deep connection to Dwayne Ludwig. Yeah. And Dwayne Ludwig has done some incredible shit for his career, without a doubt. No doubt about it. And I think Dwayne, I've worked with Dwayne before, and I've watched Dwayne train fight. I watched Dwayne train TJ. I've watched him work with Brendan Shaw. He's held pads for me and gone over his philosophy, because I was like, well, tell me what you teach guys. How do you do this? How do you set things up? And I'm very impressed with he's completely fucking crazy. Yeah. But in the best way for a trainer, because he's obsessed. Like the day that TJ fought Barao, I had lunch with Dwayne, and it was hilarious because it was me and a bunch of my friends. We're all sitting down in I don't know, was it MGM or Mandalay Bay, whichever one. But we're all sitting down having lunch, and TJ didn't give up, or Dwayne didn't give a fuck who else was at the table. All he was like, basically what's going to happen is this, the fight, this is the way it's going to go down. Yeah. He's like, Barao always has a tendency to lean to his left. As soon as he leans to his left, TJ's not going to be there. He's going to be to the right. He's going to, the overhand right is going to be a big key to this fight. And he's rattling off things. I'm trying to keep up with him. I'm like drinking coffee just to try to keep up with his words. But he's obsessed. He's obsessed with making guys better. And I think TJ recognizes that. And I think that personality-wise, Dwayne and Faber just did not, it just clashed. It didn't work out. Depends on, I like Uriah a lot. I think Uriah is awesome. I love him as a person, and I like Dwayne a lot. So I don't know who the fuck is right and who the fuck is wrong. I literally have no idea, right? So I don't know what really went down, but I know it didn't work out. But I know that for Danny Castillo, and I know for TJ, having Dwayne coach them has been a huge benefit. I don't like that TJ took off, but I don't know the specifics. And I also don't know what Muscle Farm is offering him. Yeah. Muscle Farm, I don't understand Muscle Farm. This is what I don't understand. Those fucking dudes, if you look at the financial reports, those guys are hemorrhaging money. They're hemorrhaging money. So I'm not sure what's going on there. It might be some rich dude like that Dynamic Fastener guy that was like sponsoring everybody. It might be some dude who owns Muscle Farm that just loves MMA. I mean, maybe their products are awesome and they're just like, they really believe in them and they're building up the company and this is part of their strategy. I don't know. But they're throwing a lot of fucking money at a lot of really good fighters. They got Matt Browns over there now. I saw that.
He just moved the whole family out there.
Yep. And I hope they don't go under, because when we've looked, because I'm a part owner of On It. So we've looked at the Muscle Farm business model, and we're like,
not fucking having it.
What the fuck is going on here? I mean, maybe we're not seeing something.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there's some revenue that we're not aware of. But as it's been explained to me, they've made let's just put it this way in a positive spin. They've made a significant investment in that gym, a significant investment in MMA, and a significant investment in their company that I don't know necessarily whether or not it's been profitable yet. I'm obviously talking out of my ass because I'm not a financial guy, but I like what they're doing in terms of building this giant team, in terms of putting together this world-class facility. I mean, their facility is super impressive. I mean, I've seen the gym that they put together. I mean, it's fucking amazing, man. It's awesome. I have a dream of doing something like that someday. I think that would be incredible. If I do ever leave commentating for the UFC, one of the things fucking for sure I want to do is open up a big gym with guys like Eddie Bravo and get in some, great striking coaches and just do it for the enjoyment
You're
of the
all there in
sport.
the UFC. You're like, all right, come on, champ. All right, come on. There you go. There you go. You're all supporting people.
See, maybe, but I doubt it. I will be watching from the sidelines. That's one of the hardest things for me is to commentate on people that I like.
Yeah.
Like Ronda. Ronda's a friend of mine. Yeah. And Ronda, when she got fucked up by Holly, I commentated that fight just like I would people I don't even know.
You're doing your job.
But I do know her, and I like her a lot. And when she got head kicked, I was like, ooh, damn.
Your face afterwards, I was like, I gotta stop.
Well, what the best part about that was filmed by John Wayne Parr, who is a multiple-time world Muay Thai champion. He's a 10-time world Muay Thai champion. He's a good buddy of mine who's with his young daughter, who's also a fighter. His young daughter's a fighter, and she's a huge Ronda fan. And not only did I get them tickets, I pulled them from their seats and had them sit behind me in the production seats. So
You're like, I'm so
sorry. They
sorry.
were right there. So when she got head kicked, I turned to look at John, and John's got his iPhone up. I'm like, oh. And that video has got like fucking millions of hits now because it's so crazy to watch that reaction right after that kick. But that was a hard one, man, because I care about her a lot. And I also I don't agree with a lot of like her training and their coaching and all that stuff. I mean, who knows when the dust settles?
Yeah.
I would tell her to go to Matt Hume. There's two people I'd tell her to go to, Matt Hume and Faraz Zahabi. Those are the two guys.
Or Rafael Cordero.
Rafael Cordero's very good.
Yes,
yeah,
Matt
very
speaks,
close to her.
Yes, Matt speaks very highly of him. He was like, me and my friends always talk about like if Matt was like, hey guys, I'm done coaching. We were like, where would you go? And I was like, it might be Rafael Cordero. I heard they spar pretty hard there, so they got a lot of injuries. But I'm like, hey guys, can I just train here? I don't want to spar hard. I told people, I was like, dude, I don't need to spar hard. I was like, I'm pretty sure when I get in the octagon, I'm gonna pull the fucking trigger. You ain't gotta worry about that.
Don't worry about that. You've been pulling the trigger for a long time. But it's like, that's that old shoot the box style.
Yes,
those old habits die hard. Yeah. Those guys used to beat the fuck out of each other for puppies.
I know.
You ever heard that story?
Yeah, I did. With Silva and Shogun.
Shogun and Vanderlei Silva, they brawled over a puppy, and whoever could knock who out. Like, Shogun apparently had a puppy for sale, and Vanderlei didn't want to pay as much as Shogun wanted for it. So Vanderlei said, if I knock you out, I don't have to pay, but if you knock me out, I'll pay.
Yeah.
And Vanderlei knocked him out. When Shogun woke up, Vanderlei was holding his puppy.
He was like, you see my friend.
That's some cold shit.
Yeah.
But I'd also think there was a lot of ignorance involved. Yeah. And I don't think they understood head trauma.
Yep.
And
I think there was a point in time to where now I think everybody's starting to understand. Like, that's the thing about the Tito Dillashaw thing. I totally respect what he did, where he was like, I need to go to be with somebody who's going to put 110% into me, and that's Dwayne Ludwig.
Yes.
Team Alpha Male, they've done an amazing job and still doing a good job trying to keep that team together. But at the same time, this is a business. We're all trying to make money. At the end of the day, you're right, Faber, he's taken care of, regardless if he ever becomes a champion or not. He's done did it. I told Uriah Faber in his face, I was like, dude, you might never be the champion, but you'll probably be the most lucrative, successful 135-pounder to walk this earth.
Well, he's a very smart guy business-wise too. He's really good at flipping houses.
Yep.
He owns a few houses, buys them and sells them. He's just a smart dude.
Yeah.
Very, very clever guy.
And I think with TJ, he saw that if he went with Dwayne Ludwig, which he should, because Dominic Cruz ain't no fucking joke, that he is going to be able to keep on being 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 title defenses down there.
Maybe, but here's the counter to that was like how good he got was sparring with Joseph Benavidez, sparring with Chad Mendes, sparring with Lance Palmer, sparring with Cody Garbrandt. You know, being in the gym with those fucking monsters that are his weight class every day. Yeah, that's also a big factor.
Yeah, that's true.
I think the combination of Dwayne and them was substantial.
He can try those tools out on them.
I just don't think fucking whatever the reason they couldn't work. Well, you know, there's nothing perfect in this world, you know?
Well, I have to say, my favorite quote by TJ Dillashaw was like, shit, Team Alpha Male, they even got a fucking physical therapist. I was like, I don't have a physical therapist.
Physical therapist? Muscle Farm's taking it to the next level.
All right, number 6. How did you get into broadcasting for the UFC?
Dana White talked me into it. I had no desire.
Really?
Zero desire.
You're like, dude, I watch people eat shit for a living.
Well, before that, I worked for the UFC. I worked for the UFC in '97. Oh. I worked for the UFC in 1997, UFC 12.
Okay.
Not 2012. 1997 in Dothan, Alabama. It was the first UFC where they were supposed to be in New York. They're supposed to be in Buffalo, and they moved it down to Dothan. So I did that, and I did it for about 2 years. Then I decided to quit. And when I decided to quit, and I was very content not doing it, and I was excited when Zuffa purchased it. And so then they had their big pay-per-view event before I started working for them, where Tito Ortiz fought Vladimir Matyushenko. It was right after September 11th. It was a big event in Vegas, and me and Eddie Bravo went down for it, and I became friends with Dana White. And you know, Dana and I, we just talked about fights. We would get together, and you know, he knew me from Fear Factor, and that's how they were trying to get celebrities to come to the fights, and so they would give you tickets and shit like that. And I was just telling him, like, what about this guy? You know about this guy? What about that guy? You ever see this guy fighting? You ever see Shudo? You ever watch Shudo? You ever, started rattling off all this different shit.
And he was like, I need you.
So he started going, why don't you do commentary? And I was like, fuck, dude, I don't want to do commentary, man. I'm busy, man. I heard you stand up. I'm ready. I had 2 gigs back then, too. I was doing the UFC, or I was doing Fear Factor, and I was hosting the Man Show, and I was doing stand-up comedy. So I've always done like a gang of different shit, you know. I was always just I don't know, there's the OCD part. I was just really, and so then Dana asked me to do it. So UFC 37 and a half, which was I think in 2002. That was my first ever UFC that I commentated on. It was Chuck Liddell versus Vitor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it was on Best Damn Sports Show. Remember Best Damn Sports Show?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, they had it, they aired the UFC on Best Damn Sports Show. Yeah. And so I watched, I commentated on that, and then Dana tried to get me to do all of them. And then I said, no, listen, man, I go, you know, how about this? I go, I'll do some commentary. I go, just get my friends tickets to the fights and I'll do commentary. So that's what we, like, the first, I think like 10 or 15 shows, I didn't get paid at all.
Wow.
I didn't even ask for money.
That's good.
I didn't even want any money. I go, fly me out there, get my friends tickets. So, you know, like Eddie and a couple other my buddies from jiu-jitsu, we'd come and they were fans. They would sit in the front row, we'd watch the fights, and then afterward we'd go eat steak and relax and have a good time.
Like, fucking take care of my boys.
Yeah, this is fun. We had a good time. Yeah. You know, it's like, this is great to be able to, we were always big UFC fans. One of the things we would always say is what the UFC really needs is some crazy millionaires who have all this money in the world, who are willing to spend a ton of money to promote the sport. Yeah. And if they did that, man, the sport is so exciting, it could really be huge. And so that was our thought process behind it. And it's almost like we manifested the Fertittas.
Yeah.
And the Fertittas out of nowhere became these guys that were these like super millionaire, billionaire characters that were fans of the sport. And so from 2002 on, I've been doing it.
Nice, man. Love it. Love it that you're there. All right. Have you ever commentated high?
No.
Oh, there you go. Huh.
I was probably like a little lingering. Like I wouldn't have passed any tests.
Yeah.
But I never do now. Maybe that was like really early on. But like in the early 2000s. But no, I'm sober for all of them.
Good, good. All right, here it is.
Even the hangover thing, I'm never hungover anymore. That was early days.
Yeah.
And only a couple times.
You're like. Because
I remember my brain just wasn't firing that good. I was like, ooh, this is not good.
Mike's like, Joe, you're all right? He goes, yeah.
He never says that. It's always me asking him.
Mike, I'm like, okay. He goes, I don't know, Joe, you're not fired today. This one is be kind of two-part. Thoughts of people going to Bellator and testing the free agency market?
I think we need more competition, and I think it'd be great if Bellator becomes giant. First, they should ditch that stupid fucking name. I think Bellator. What is a Bellator? Try explaining that to your fucking gardener. Try explaining that to your boss. Yeah,
like,
we're watching Bellator.
Is
What's
that a new
Bellator? It's like MMA. What is MMA? It's like the UFC. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what the fuck that means. They should call it Spike TV Mixed Martial Arts. If they were smart, they would just call it Mixed Martial Arts. When you watch boxing, you don't give a fuck if it's Don King or Bob Arum or Golden Boy.
You know, it's boxing.
It's boxing, and that's what MMA should be. I mean, right now we've got this NFL situation where, like, when you watch football, you really watch the NFL. There's no other options. You got Canadian football, which is fucking ridiculous, right? Or you've got the NFL. That's it.
Yep.
And that's the situation right now we have with MMA. Even though I work for the UFC and I love the UFC, I don't think that is a good model. I don't think it's a good model for the athletes. I think the best model for the athletes is the model that boxing has. And that's why when you look at how much money the top boxers make, the difference between how much the promotion makes and how much the athletes make, it's sided more towards the athletes in boxing than it is in MMA. And I think with a company like Bellator, you know, they're backed by Viacom.
Yeah.
And I think the good thing about something like Viacom is that Viacom is this multi-billion-dollar, huge multimedia company. The bad thing about it is they're a business, and they're not in the business of MMA. Like the UFC, Dana White and the Fertittas are huge mixed martial arts fans. They love the fights, and they have no plans on bailing on the UFC. It's a very profitable venture. They make tons of money. It's a huge success, and they built it to be that giant success. So they deserve everything they get. Viacom does not feel that way.
Yeah.
Viacom is in it to win it. They're in it to make money. And the moment it stops making money, they're going to cast it aside the same way they did Glory. They got rid of Glory.
That's right.
That was a huge fuck up on their part. That was a gigantic fuck up. Because, first of all, high-level kickboxing is some of the most exciting shit you could ever watch.
Yep.
It's super, super exciting. And for them to bail on that, I just think it's ridiculous. I just think it's so short-sighted. And I think their promotion sucked. I don't think they did a good job of getting people excited about it. I don't think the promotion, like the way it was produced, the production of it was that good. It's just like what you have is an amazing product. You got Nikki Holtzkin, you got, you know, Joseph Valtellini, you got Raymond Daniels, you got all these wild ass kickboxers, you got Rico Verhoeven, you got amazing talent. You just got to figure out how to promote them. Put the fucking money in, make that money. Put the money in and get the return. That's not the business they're in. They're in the business of profitable promotions, profitable television shows, profitable productions. Whatever they put together, they want it to make money. And when you start seeing those 200,000 views, 300,000 views, they're like, fuck this.
Yes.
Yeah, and they tried that one pay-per-view, which is an extreme disaster.
I remember that one.
So poorly planned. So poorly planned. First of all, you don't have a fucking pay-per-view where you show them hours of free shit first, and then you make them watch the pay-per-view. It's like, that's what the UFC does, dummy.
Yeah.
But the UFC is an established brand, you fucking idiots. When the UFC does it, it's an appetizer.
Yep.
They're building it up. They're getting your lips wet, and you're like, fuck it, we're in all that. We're ordering pizza.
Yep.
We get the beer out. We're
Yep.
fucking doing this.
Yep.
We're doing it all night.
Yep.
I think they tried to emulate that model, and it's not smart. Boxing doesn't do it that way. Nobody else does it that way, and I don't think they should have done it that way. And I definitely don't think they were ready for pay-per-view. I think that cost them a lot of money, and you know, they started going deeper and deeper into the red. You know?
Yeah, I agree. I always think it's good to have good competition because it makes people decide after their contract is up with the UFC or Bellator or other places, then they can decide on, hey, like what, Gilbert Melendez, he tested the market for Bellator, and from the word on the streets that he got a good deal with the UFC. So I think it's good competition.
I think it is good competition. I also think that it'd be great for everybody, including the UFC. I think that if the Bellator promotion really kicked it into gear and started putting on really high quality shows with guys who you look at them like, say if John Jones was over in Bellator, if John Jones left and went to Bellator, good fucking googly moogly, started smashing people, and then Gustafson went over there, or a couple other guys go to, that would be giant, and it would force everybody to rise up.
Oh, yeah.
It forces everybody.
Yeah.
Even if Glover, someone who's like a real top 10 contender, Glover Teixeira.
Or Ben Henderson.
Ben Henderson. He might.
Yeah.
Look, Ben Askren, to this day, I'm pissed that Ben Askren was never signed by the UFC. I think that's a disaster.
Well, Dana White rather watch two flies fuck over shit than watch him wrestle.
I don't understand that. That's not how I look at it. The way I look at it is like you've got the sport, which again I call high-level problem solving, right? That's what MMA is.
Yeah.
And then you got this guy who's just this giant problem.
Yeah.
He's such a wicked grappler.
Yeah.
He's so good. And people go, oh, he's boring. Like, not to me.
Not me.
Not to me.
How do you solve this problem? When I watch Fire, I'm like, hang on, let me sit back and watch this again. Hang on. What?
How about this? Watch baseball. That shit is so fucking boring.
I can tell you what,
and millions of people watch it.
I've had sweets, unlimited drinks, unlimited food. You know what I did? I fell asleep. And you know who was right next to me sleeping? Joseph Benavidez, my friend. Me and him were out in Toronto. Just
of course. Well, you guys are tired from training. Like, why would I waste my valuable mental and physical resources staying awake for this shit when I can just recover? Fuck this. And you look over at him. He's sleeping. Fuck, I'm gonna sleep too.
Exactly. Yeah. I gotta get a couple selfies real quick. Then I'm going to bed.
Yeah, get a couple selfies with him blacked out. Yeah, I think that MMA should be pure. Yeah. That's what I think. And I think that a guy like Ben Askren, he presents a pure problem. And that problem is he's got a very strong skill. And he's incredibly gifted and talented in one aspect of MMA. And I want to see a guy like that. I want to see you throw that guy in with everybody. I want to see what can he do to Carlos Condit. Yeah. Maybe he takes Carlos Condit down. Carlos can't do shit to him.
That's why I like you. People are like, oh man, Sage Northcutt, he's too young. Fuck that. I want to see him fight Anthony Pettis.
Fuck yeah.
I want to see his athletic ability against somebody who's just as athletic and skillful. Yeah. Yes, I understand building him up, rising to the occasion. Who cares? Yeah, he lost. Who cares?
Right.
He'll come back. He's young. He's
going to get better.
He'll get better. Well, let's not, I'm not saying they're pampering him right now. A lot of eyes out there are like, this is one thing that pisses me off. When people are like, he's not ready for that fight. He's not ready for that fight.
How do you know?
Well, this is the thing. Yeah. Here's my opinion. When you come to the UFC, this is the fucking hippie the thing. My amateur career was so long that Matt wanted to make sure when he called me, when Sean Shelby called him, he goes, hey, we got a fight for Demetrious Johnson. We want to sign him after I knocked out Jesse Brock in Alaska. And Matt was like, okay, who do you want him to fight? And he goes, Brad Pickett, right? Any other coach would be like, no. I don't want him to fight Brad Pickett. Brad Pickett's tough. He's good. You know what Matt said? Absolutely, let's do it. I believe Demetrious Johnson could beat anybody out there. I went out there and I fought my ass off, broke my hand, and lost the fight. And was Matt upset? No, he wasn't upset at all. He goes, dude, that was your first fight in the big show. You went out there and fought your ass off. You performed way more than my expectations. So why not? Let's throw Sage Northcutt against who you think would be a good fight?
Well, I don't know, but I mean, here's a counterpoint to that. The counterpoint to it is you look at a guy like Mayweather, who was an Olympic star, went from that to enter into MMA and was slowly built up. Now here he is, 49-0, supposedly retired, but we both know that's bullshit.
He's gonna fucking get back.
He'll be back in April when they build that huge stadium in Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I guarantee you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna predict it right now. He's going to be back in April, and he's going to fight Manny Pacquiao after Manny Pacquiao recovers from shoulder surgery. And it'll be the biggest fucking fight ever, next to the last fight, which was the biggest fight ever.
Yep.
He's not going to pass up on money. No. And he's still young, and he's still awesome.
Yeah. Why would you tie your record with another person where you can have the record?
Exactly. Fuck Rocky Marciano. Bam! Not only that, I think Rocky Marciano fought his brother more than once.
Really?
Yeah, that's the rumor. The rumor is Rocky Marciano fought his brother at least once, maybe more than once. So his record might really be like 4. Unquestionably, Rocky Marciano was one of the greatest boxers of all time. Yeah, unquestionably a nasty brawler. You watch his victory over like Jersey Joe Walcott, that nasty knockout. Yeah. He was a fucking brawl. And he was 189 pounds.
Yeah.
He was 5'9", and he was a fucking heavyweight. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, he might have been 5'10". I mean, I don't know, but he wasn't a big guy.
Yeah.
It was a different world back then. It was hard to get food.
Yeah.
You know? It was hard. It was hard for people to get big.
Yeah.
You know, the average person during World War II, the average man, or not World War II, the Civil War, the average man was like 130 pounds. There you go.
Right here.
There's no food. I mean, there were no giants back then. It was really difficult. Like, when a guy like Jack Johnson came along, everybody was like, what the fuck? Because he was a legit heavyweight.
Yeah.
But they called him, a giant. And, I mean, what was he, like 6'2"?
I think
Jack Johnson was 6'2".
Yeah.
You know, that's what I think. You know, I don't think people were big back then. I think it was a totally different world. But how tall was he, Jamie? 6'2". See, bitch, I know my shit.
Woo.
What was the original question? What the hell? How did we get to that?
We ran off talking about what was it?
Where did we start from? Oh, Sage Northcutt.
Yes,
fighting.
And how people were like, oh,
If Sage Northcutt
they're not ready
was
for that fight.
It was
not just
my
Sage,
student. If he was my student, I would test the waters. I would. The first fight that he fought. Who was the guy who fought? I forget the gentleman's name, but it was a really quick stoppage. We don't know anything other than the fact that he's explosive and fast, and he took advantage of an opportunity. Stopped the fight quickly. I think that if time goes on, he's got a lot of potential, and he's got a lot of marketing potential, and you got to look at it as a massive investment. And I think that you would start to build him up, give him some tougher and tougher fights, and then, maybe when he's 20, 21, then. Well, he's 19 now.
I like what you said. When he's 20, 21, I'm like, fuck, I didn't get into UFC till I was what, 24? 24?
That's still perfect. I think I think Matt Hume is like one of the best and smartest trainers and strategists. So I think his movement of you and getting you into position was perfectly orchestrated. I think a guy like Sage needs someone like that to be in his corner. You know, Ronda obviously didn't have that.
Yeah.
You know, obviously. She didn't have someone who's covering all the bases. And I think you need someone who covers all the bases. Like, we don't know, like, how good is this kid on the ground? I mean, how good is this kid's wrestling? You know, what does it look like if he gets in there with a guy who can take him down at will? You know, have him spar with a guy like Askren. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens if he wrestles with a guy like Askren. Askren just breaks him.
He's like,
you know?
I call this the blanket. Ugh.
Yeah, exactly. I call this to smell my balls. I'm going to fucking ride your face. What are you going to do? Try to get me off. And I think that's get me off of you, I should say. I think a guy like I think you need to be exposed to all these different styles to find out where are the holes. Where's the holes in your game, and
not wait till you get to the big championship,
right?
And then you
get
falter.
Head kicked.
Shit happens. Okay?
Exactly,
it happens.
But it happened the first time she fought a real kickboxer.
Yes,
you know,
totally agree. That makes more sense. When you
I remember Edmund telling me that he had a background in Taekwondo, and he can't kick Ronda, and no one's going to be able to kick Ronda. I was like,
you're like, Edmund.
I was like, okay,
Edmund, what the fuck happened? You said you.
I'm just from him saying that. I was like, okay, what? Can I just see you kick? Can I just see what this background looks like? Like, it's just a goddamn giant difference between Anthony Pettis and you. Let's just be realistic, you know?
Absolutely.
I mean, those guys. I mean, Anthony Pettis. He's that when you get like these world class kickers, like there's a difference between a trainer like an Edmund and a Anthony Pettis.
I'd rather get punched in the face than get fucking kicked.
Oh fuck yeah!
And if you've never been
fuck yeah!
My dream was one day to meet Crow Cop. I'm like, dude, I want you to just kick me in the fucking leg. Him and Aldo. Like when I first met, I love Aldo. Like he was like my biggest inspiration. Like Crow Cop, Andre Arlovski, and Jose Aldo were my biggest inspirations. And I was like, when I met Aldo, I don't speak Portuguese. I was like, dude, just fucking kick me. I just want to, because that's like the thing. I was like,
you just want to feel it.
I just want to fucking feel like what makes people like
speed.
I was like, just fucking kick me just once, and I don't speak Portuguese. So or even Crow Cop. Like I've never met him before.
God. You don't want that guy kicking you.
I was like, dude, just kick me. But Matt was like, dude, it's easy for Crow Cop kick. He weighs fucking. He fights a heavyweight. He goes, a heavyweight can kick. They just gotta throw their fucking leg on you, and they're kicking. So those were always my thing. Like I want to get fucking kicked by those guys.
His highlight reel of KOs, that left high kick.
Oh yeah.
It's like no one one else ever.
Nope.
That Vanderlei one, when he flatlined Vanderlei, and Vanderlei just collapsed in a hump.
Yeah.
Oh my God. God damn, he was badass in his day.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what the original question was. That's my answer.
I love the answer. I love it.
Is that it? Is that all the questions?
That's all the questions. They had a
those are
lot of
good.
jackass questions, and I'm not about bringing jackass
Whose
stuff.
dick would you suck if you had to stay alive? If you were at the bottom of the ocean and someone's dick contained oxygen, who
would it suck to get up there? Would you do it?
Yeah. There's the internet is amazing in that anybody can talk. But it's the pros and it's the cons of it. You know? But ultimately it's pro.
There's been times I just want to. It's actually I've gotten a lot better. Like I won't even go on MMA. I won't go on any MMA sites anymore. Just won't. I'm like the only reason I'm gonna go on Twitter is if I'm looking for something or if I'm gonna post something about me. Coming on here or stream or anything like that, because a lot of people they just talk shit.
Yeah.
And it's like stop talking shit.
Well, you also have to think about it this way, and they should probably think about it this way too. Like, what are you doing? Like, if you're going online, like, I'll look at someone. Sometimes someone will talk shit to me, and I'll go to their Twitter account, and I'll realize that's all they do.
Yeah,
that's all they do is talk shit to me.
Yep.
I look at their Twitter account. I'm like, you need to get someone's help.
Yeah.
Someone needs to talk to you. Like, your fucking whole Twitter feed is me. You're telling me I'm a loser, but I didn't even know you existed until 2 seconds ago.
Yep.
And apparently you've been tweeting me for a year. Like, that's pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And that's not healthy, man. But
sorry, I just found you. Sorry it took me this long.
But to say someone's not shit, like to go to your Twitter, Demetrious Johnson, you ain't shit, nobody likes you. But what about you, bitch?
Yeah.
You know me. I don't even know who you are. You're not even a person. You're an egg. You're an egg-shaped avatar on Twitter with a fake name, and you're thinking about me.
Yep.
Why are you thinking about me? Because I've actually gone out and done something.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's what these people don't understand when they're talking shit to you and they're attacking you and trying to get your attention. Like what you're doing is you're showing the flaws in your plan of life.
Yep.
Your plan of life is to shit on successful people and not become successful. You've taken all this energy and turned it into hate and just hoping someone falls, hoping someone gets Ronda Rousey'd, you know, like, yes, I knew she was nothing. I knew it all along.
Yep,
I mean, there's so many people that love that. They love when someone falls. And what they really love is someone that no longer makes them feel like shit because of their accomplishments.
Yep.
That's what they really love.
Totally
when they
agree.
watch someone fail, they don't necessarily love failure. What they love is they've been alleviated of that feeling of inadequacy. That's what they really love. And they get to attack. Yeah! Now I get the green light. Yeah! It's like when someone loses, when they get knocked out, it's like a starter's pistol for cunts.
Yep.
Pow! Go! You know, like they just fucking go, man. They just run and start. But they don't understand that it's bad for you. It's for them, like you. It's not good for you. It's not healthy. It's not smart. You're wasting all that time hating on people and shitting on people. Like I saw this guy the other day who was shitting on this fighter. And I went to his Twitter page, and his Twitter page was completely dedicated. Like the name of the Twitter page is dedicated to shitting on this fighter, and all the tweets. And like someone called him a troll. He's like, I'm not a troll. Trolls hit and run. I'm here for the long run.
You're gonna get fucked up like that guy who Josh Neer did. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Or Deontay Wilder. Did you ever see that? Deontay Wilder beat the fuck out of some guy. Some guy came to his gym, and Deontay beat the fuck out of him, knocked him down, or hit him when he was down. I mean, this guy was like not even a big guy, and he's in there sparring with. I think he hadn't won the heavyweight title yet, but I mean,
he's the heavyweight
boxing champion, one of the heavyweight boxing champions, next to Tyson Fury. I don't know what, that's the other problem with boxing is it's so fractioned because there's so many different, like Bellator will say the Bellator world title. Well, for a fact if Bellator puts on a 125-pound title fight, that shit is not for the world title. No, right? There's one world. What do you got there? Oh, go ahead. Go take a leak, man. He had to make us. He's holding it in so bad he's limping. That's hilarious. Ladies and gentlemen, Mighty Mouse Johnson, he wrote on a piece of paper, I need to piss. We're going to auction that off on eBay. If you'd like to get in on that, Why he's peeing, let me tell you about some shit's coming up. Next Wednesday, there's a show at the Ice House. Al Madrigal, Tony Hinchcliffe, Greg Fitzsimmons, and probably more. These shows sell out pretty quick. It's a 10 p.m. show, and it's $15, and it's next Wednesday at the Ice House in Pasadena. Then December 11th, there's a big show in Vegas at the Ka Theater with Joey Diaz and me. And Joey Diaz is on fire. He's on fire. Last night, I've never seen anybody funnier. Last night, people were crying, like tears. He's got, I don't even say what the bit's about, but goddamn, he's got this bit. I'll say it's about eggs, but it's not. It's about life. I got a bunch of other shit coming up too. I'm at the Beacon Theater on January 29th in New York City. Tickets, the pre-sale went on sale today. And then Boston, we just added a third show today. I do 2 shows sold out at the Wilbur on Friday and Saturday night. We added a late show on Friday night. We'll probably add a late show on Saturday night too, because that's my hometown. And he's back, ladies and gentlemen.
We are
Perfect
back.
timing.
I'm fucking feeling refreshed. So, here's another
Dude,
question.
I got a bladder, man. I can't even pee right now. I can hang in there.
It's because you go hunting. That's why.
No, it's because of doing this podcast. That's what it is. It's just my bladder grew from doing this podcast. From 6 years of doing 3-hour conversations.
That's amazing, by the way.
I just keep. Like I had 2 beers. I had a coffee before I got here.
Here's a quick question. What are your thoughts on do you think Ronda Rousey should do the rematch with Holly Holm right now?
No.
Who do you think she should fight next?
Well, I don't think she should do the rematch right now because of her head.
Well, not
I think
that.
she experienced some significant head trauma in that fight, and I think anybody that says any differently is an asshole.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I really do.
Yeah.
I think traumatic brain injury is something that has gotten me more and more concerned over the last few years because of talking to doctors. I've had this one doctor, Dr. Mark Gordon, who works with a lot of soldiers, football players. He's worked with some combat sports athletes as well, and where he relays the issues with traumatic brain injury, the damage to the pituitary gland, the damage to your body's ability to produce hormones, depression, and all the issues that come along with concussions, and how those are exacerbated by ignoring them or by trying to work through them or by getting injured again, close to the concussion, which makes it way, way worse. When I look at guys that have had to exit the sport, like TJ Grant, who's about to fight for the title.
Oh, yeah.
And had to get out of the sport. Like he's in a mine now. He works for a mine in Canada. And I just think that traumatic brain injury, although I love this sport, is one of the most overlooked and more dangerous aspects. Now, you don't hear guys like Dana talk about it, and you rarely hear people talk about it outside of someone like me, because they're promoters and because that's their bread and butter. That's I can't do that, because for me, my bread and butter is me being honest.
Yeah.
That's my business. My business is I got to say what I really think. And what I really think is she needs a comprehensive overhaul of her game, of her MMA game.
Yeah.
I think she needs to look at like how she's preparing, and she needs to take into consideration all the problems that were exposed in that fight. And she needs to reassess and readdress. And I also think she has too many fucking distractions. I think she has too much going on. She's doing a Roadhouse movie. She did the Entourage movie. She's doing, who knows what fucking movie contracts and scripts, and her phone's probably blowing up all day. That's all fine when you're fighting Betch Kohea. Nothing to take away from Betch Kohea, but Betch Kohea, she's like a mechanical or robotic sort of a puncher.
Yeah.
She kicks, kind of robotic. There's no real threat of explosion. There's no real submission threat. I'm not saying that Betch can't eventually put that in her game, but as right now, when I look at her, like when she fought Shanna Baszler, I'm looking at like a robotic fighter. It's funny. It's so robotic, you're laughing. I think she needs to really look at the whole. I mean, like we said, MMA is problem solving, right? There was obviously a bunch of new problems that were exposed in that fight, and one of the big ones is the difference between hitting mitts, sparring with people that aren't really strikers, and fighting a 19-time world boxing champion.
Yeah.
who's also an outstanding kickboxer, who's also an outstanding athlete, who's also incredibly mentally tough, who also has a fantastic, real, professional MMA camp filled with champions, potential champions, world-class contenders. Mike Winkeljohn is one of the best fucking striking coaches in the world. Greg Jackson, who's a master strategist, and they've gone over this with a fine-tooth comb. There's no yes men, and
there is no, you need, when you hear, and that's the thing too, I guess when you heard Holly Holm say, like, there's a couple of times I got into the gym and I would just cry. Just cry. That's not gonna win me the world championship. And then she'll come back, and I'm not saying, I don't know if Ronda Rousey has ever felt that way. If she's like, I'm not gonna build, that's not gonna beat Holly Holm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's almost like when you bring up how many people she's been training with, Winkeljohn, in the different aspect of mixed martial arts. She has different types of fighter there. John Dotson's there. Carlos Condit, John Jones has been there. So she's surrounded by other fighters. That's all these fighters do. You know, with Ronda, she's been able to expand her brand and go into movies and do all that stuff to have that income coming in, to where I don't know if anybody else around her is still on that, have that hunger, like, no, this is what you got to do. This is the goal. This is what pays the bills.
Yeah, and that money is so great from those movies. Then she's got agents. Her agents were out there in Melbourne with her.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man.
Fuck.
Movie agents in a fight. You know, look, man, I go back to the days when Mike Tyson had that fucking down jacket on and he was running at 5 o'clock in the morning, and he was 19 years old, and they asked him, why do you run at 5 o'clock in the morning? And he was like, I run at 5 o'clock in the morning because I believe that my opponent is in bed and I believe it gives me an edge. He's not getting movie scripts.
Yeah.
He's not thinking about writing a book or dodging some fucking, paparazzi. He's an animal.
Yeah.
He's out there being Jack Dempsey. He's being the best he can be. He's out there with a singular drive. I think you have to be obsessed with fighting, and it has to be your overwhelming, consuming passion. And I think as soon as you start giving up little pieces of real estate, you start making little subdivisions in your brain.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'll just put a little side for my fucking my little TV show that I'm going to work on, and I'm going to start my own production company. I'm looking to the future. Look at the future is a fucking left high kick. All right, that's the future. That's what you need to be preparing for. Fuck all this Roadhouse bullshit, because that movie's going to come and go, and you're not going to notice whether or not. Look, Ronda made some insane amount of money in the last couple of years, right? Some insane amount of money. I mean, depending on who you ask, she made between $6 and $10 million over the last couple of years. Okay, so let's just stop right there and look at that. If you make $1 million for Roadhouse or $2 million, you're not going to know that. You're not going to notice that money. No, that's not what I'm saying. Like, you don't know the difference between 6 and 8 million.
Yeah,
doesn't mean anything.
Gotcha.
Unless you're a crazy person that constantly needs to buy things.
Yeah.
When you have a certain amount of money, everything becomes free.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's like you want to go buy a laptop. Well, go buy a laptop. You just fucking give them the credit card. You don't even think about it.
Yeah.
When you're broke, you go, how much is a laptop? $2,000? Shit.
Hey, shit, I still fucking do that now.
Well, yeah. Right. Well, you're smart.
Yeah.
You're smart. You're frugal. But when you've got $10 million in the bank, what you're supposed to do is realize, okay, well, now money is not
an issue.
It's not an issue anymore.
Yeah. So why would I want to go out and try to search for these new ventures instead of, okay, right now I'm fighting right now. This is what I'm going to put my eggs and all my focus on, and there's no reason why I need to go out and do this movie. But it might be talent. It might be something.
The problem is you let the door open to the vampires, the agents, like. And they come in.
I was like,
they come in your house. I mean, it's just a door. Then you let the door open to the vampires, and they slide into your house. And they go, "There's so much money on the table, Rhonda. There's so much money to be made.
Yeah.
What about films, entourage?" If you fucking spent a moment of your life preparing for that piece of shit movie, that's a moment wasted, right? It's a fact. You're doing the most noble, courageous, terrifying thing in all of sports. You're becoming the most dominant and recognizable female champion of all time. To spend any time away from that doing some shitty movie, some nonsense agent-created catastrophe of culture, that's a waste. It's a waste. But there's a lot of money in that waste. You might make $500,000.
Yeah.
You might make $1 million. Who knows what you make? The point is, that all of that stuff came about because
of
her fighting, and because of her success, and because of her dominance. And as soon as that success and dominance goes away, then all that money erodes away. So you open the door to the vampires suck your blood, and then you're left there dehydrated and emaciated. You're like, what happened? You open the door.
Yeah.
You open the door and you let them in. And I don't necessarily think anybody other than her mother, who's just a badass herself. I don't think there's a lot of people that are going to tell her that, you know?
So what would you say? So here's a good example. So does Ron leave that door closed and be like, you know what? No, I'm going to focus on fighting him. And they'll be like, well, this door's never going to be opened again. And let's say
the only way that door is really open now, honestly, is if she wins. Right now, that door's not open anymore.
No, I mean, I'm saying though, like let's say after the Betch Carrera fight, she never did Entourage. She never did Fast and Furious 7. She just kept on fighting. And let's say she's the greatest. She beat Anderson Silva's record. She's defended the title 50 times. And let's say she missed the opportunity to open that door. But
the money she's made on fighting. Just the money she's made on fighting is insane.
Well, yeah, because she's get pay-per-view, so yeah.
She's in a different stratosphere because there's never been a woman that's been dominant like that, that's been a world-class fighter, that's appeared like in all these Metro PCS commercials.
Yeah.
Like all that shit's fine. It's when you start going off into movies.
I have, okay.
Who else has been like her? There's no one. No one's been like her, right? So she's made all that money just from fighting.
Yeah.
I think when you stretch out, you get greedy. You start going for all that other stuff. Like, there's some cool shit. Like, I love the idea of the Roadhouse movie, but the Roadhouse movie doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
The Roadhouse movie only works when she's the badass.
Yeah.
As soon as
gotcha.
Now you want Holly Holm to be the fucking bouncer.
How funny would that be if they're like, Holly Holm shows, walks in the door like,
yeah. Rhonda, we need to talk to you for a moment. The fucking vampires are all pull her aside. You know, well, we've looked at your Q rating. You know, there's like a Q rating thing. There's like this fucking guy that I know who's an actor. He's a nice guy, but he's a fucking idiot. But he goes, you ever look at your Q rating? I go, what are you talking about? There's a website you can go to. You find out. Well, we're obsessed with it. Sometimes I'm more famous and sometimes I'm not. Like, and I close his laptop. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah. Get away from that. Get away. This is poison. This is occupying your thoughts. You have children.
Yeah.
Okay? You have hobbies. You have things you like to do. Yep. Do those things.
Yeah.
Concentrate on being the best you can be. Concentrating on this random algorithm that decides how famous you are in any given moment. That's insanity, man. Go take a yoga class.
Yeah.
You know, you need to do some mushrooms. Go out in the forest and find yourself.
Exactly. You need to take him. That's what you need.
He's too hard. He's too much. He's got a lot of Jesus in his head too. There's a lot going on with this one particular dude, but this idea that you concentrate on what got you to the dance.
Yeah.
And what got Rana to the dance is this singular focus that she had in judo, which made her this dominant judo fighter, right? And then she enters into MMA, and there was no grappler that could fuck with her, man. She's hip tossing bitches. She's throwing them on their heads. I mean, she was just so spectacular with her arm bars. But she found someone that had the kind of potential and that had the kind of talent that she did in a singular discipline, but it was a singular discipline that she didn't have. That discipline was kickboxing, you know, and boxing, striking, which is not her strong suit.
See, that's the thing. Like, I always like to try to be open with all the fighters. You know, I asked TJ, like, you know, how you feel about sparring and all stuff. I like to ask her, like, how much kickboxing do you do on a daily basis? Like, just, do you ever do any kickboxing? I still take classes. You know, when there's classes going on AMC, I take Muay Thai classes and
good for you, man.
all
good
that
for
stuff
you.
Because
That's how you get better.
I always feel that there's something I can still learn, even though how many fights, or even Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I just put on the gi. So I wonder, like, how much kickboxing do you do leading up to the training camp? But then again, you bring up, you know, the open the door or in the demons where it's like, hey, we're gonna get this workout in, and then I gotta go do this interview. Hey, I gotta do this. But at the same time, you know, the UFC model, they push that because they need to have her mainstream to be able to open up doors to sell the pay-per-view revenues, to do all that stuff. So it's almost
they do, but they don't. It's like, how much of that do you really need? How much of that is really beneficial? Like, what is the difference between, like, what Ronda brings to the table, and if all that stuff was so beneficial, well, how come other fighters who do the same amount of work don't get the same amount of reaction to it? Well, it's because the results inside the octagon are what's most important.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, all those interviews and they don't mean shit.
Yeah,
if you're boring,
yeah.
You know, if you can't make it happen. If, like, I watch your skills and I'm like, oh my god, this is like clunky and there's nothing good here.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be worth it.
Yeah.
And the only way to take clunky and make it better is to singular focus. You have to be driven, and it has to be only what you think of. You have to be obsessed. You have to be crazy. I mean, you know it.
Oh yeah, no, dude. Yeah, can't wait till the lights go off so we can talk a little bit more behind scenes, dude.
I'm sure. I don't like the model.
Yeah.
I don't like the model of these athletes having to do all these interviews. I don't like their training being interrupted. I don't like their rest being interrupted. I don't like any of these things.
Yeah.
I think these things are counterintuitive. I think the same result that you get out of that could be gotten with a narrator, like they do on those Showtime things when they get what's his name? Leif. What the fuck's that guy's name? The guy who's in. Yeah, Leif Schreiber, right? That guy's a bad motherfucker. He's a great narrator. You get, who's the other guy from Pulp Fiction? Ving Rhames. Ving Rhames is good at that shit too. Like, you got a good narrator, you show training footage, and you have the occasional interview.
Yeah.
Maybe you have one interview a week.
That way you get you.
Yeah.
It's almost like there was a point in time to where I saw so much of Conor or Ronda, and I was like, okay, I'm getting a little. And I love Conor McGregor to death. You gotta get in there, get your names, go to hang out in there. And I was on the couch just laughing. It's like, oh, I can watch this all fucking day.
Put your red panties on.
Yeah,
we made it.
Yeah, but then it came a point in time to where, like, every single time I would rewatch something, I would see him over and over, and I was like,
Enough.
I'm going to change the fucking channel.
I know.
But then he went away for a while. Then he started doing something, and I was like, go on. What were you saying? What were you saying?
Exactly.
You got my attention. But,
Yeah.
I totally agree with
It's
you.
like an elusive girlfriend.
Yeah.
You know, like, where are you, bitch? I'm fucking texting you all day. I miss the fuck out of you. Yeah, that's what it's like. If a girl's texting you all day, you're like, enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Leave me alone.
Exactly.
I'm working out.
Yeah, but then you never. That's the thing. You can never find the right recipe to do it because you've only had so many athletes be able to come into multi-platform stars, and I think. As a fighter, I want to get to that point to where I can make. I wish I could make $10 million. If I had $10 million in the bank, fuck. I'll tell you what. Right now, it would just. Well, my focus has always been mixed martial arts, but yeah, I don't fucking know. But dude, DJ, you ain't gotta fight anymore, dude. We gonna call it a shot. Come on, we just gonna train.
Do you think you would call it a shot? You think it would stop? You'd stop competing?
No, I fucking love it.
You'd still compete.
But
I'll tell you what. I bet you wouldn't do any interviews.
No, I still would.
My phone broke.
No, I still would.
DJ keeps breaking his phones.
No, I still would. I think, in reality, when I tell people when I jumped in this sport, it was not to make money. It was not to. There was no 125. There was no 135 or 45 or 55. I didn't even know about the UFC when I first did it. I saw The Ultimate Fighter, but it was Forrest Griffin and Rashad Evans and those guys working out. So there was no little guy running around. I didn't even know about Shuto. Didn't even know about Japan.
Well, for the longest time, 155 was the lightest weight class for the longest time.
Exactly.
Remember when we didn't even have a 155?
Yeah.
Remember when there was a 170?
Yeah, fucking Sean Shark fighting GSP.
Yeah.
So there was no we're like.
There wasn't even a 55.
Yeah.
That was recently.
Yeah, but now you have people like, they get out of high school, I'm going to be a professional fighter.
Yeah.
Motherfucker, you know what that takes. You know how much money you're going to make. You know homeboy at McDonald's is making more money than you, and you consider yourself a professional fighter. And that's where, like, I didn't have that. So that's why I think, like, my insight on, like, oh, am I going to win or lose? I think that helps me to where now they built this model to where it's like, you can be a UFC fighter, professional fighter, and you can do all these great things, which is absolutely amazing. I'm not bagging on that model at all because it's giving me the opportunity to sit here in front of you and have this conversation for me and my wife to be able to travel the world and see things. But I think that people really need to look at it and dissect it before they jump all into it.
Yeah, and I think one of the more devastating things about this Reebok situation is that fighters can't make money outside of their paycheck.
I want to elaborate on that. Here's my piece, even though you didn't fucking ask for it.
Please do.
I think the Reebok deal is good.
How dare you?
I'm gonna keep it fucking real. I'm gonna keep it real. There's been times where I fight and I never got paid. There's been times where we were going and negotiating about
Sponsors.
One time there was a point in time where Xbox had told me, like, dude, we have nothing for you. I mean, we have, there's nothing we can give to you. And I was like, all right, well.
Xbox.
Xbox.
This is after you already had a contract with them?
I never had a contract with those guys.
So they would just pay you fight to fight?
Fight to fight, yeah. It was, and that's the thing. People think when we have the Xbox sponsorship, you're directly working with fucking Bill Gates. You're not.
Right.
So
should be. Where you at, Bill?
That'd be fucking dope. Like,
where you at, Bill?
Bill.
Nick Diaz style. Where you at, Bill? That's what you have to fight.
Yeah.
Point to the Xbox logo.
Yeah. So there'll be point times where, if there's not something coming up that where they can advertise or anything, but there's point times where I take in a fight and I got no sponsorship money whatsoever, and I went out there and I destroyed my opponent, and people were like, "How could you do that? How could you do that?" But in the day, I take a step back and look at it like, this is fighting. I done this to show myself to be the best fighter in the world, and I would do it because I'm fishing. I'm hoping that one day they're like, dude, we want to set you up and get you taken care of and all that stuff. And it just shows you that I'm not the type of fighter to go out there and snoop around and try to like, hey, you want to sponsor me?
Well, that's where some managers come in play, right?
Well, no, absolutely, they come into play. But I think the integrity that I had as a human being and as an athlete, that was like, you know what, I've been rocking Xbox the whole entire time, and why am I going to run off and go throw this person on my shorts because they're going to throw me $60,000, and I have
because it's $60,000.
Well, absolutely, but I have to go out there and finagle with that person.
Right.
And
well, you shouldn't have to. I see what you're saying.
I know that, but the last thing I want to do is have my manager do that, because the only person who there's me and there's Matt Hume and there's everybody else. That's my manager, my trainer, my soul. He does all that stuff.
Well, that's interesting because that's rare. Most guys have like a manager, or a lot of guys have
a manager. Yeah.
Yeah, but Matt is a trainer as well as a manager, as well as, I mean, he's kind of like an you just have a very fortunate situation.
Yeah. Well, and I like it that way because I trust him. He wants the best for Demetrious Johnson.
Right.
And I want the best for Matt Hume. And so the last thing I want doing is having fucking Matt running around town trying to scheme me.
I totally understand that.
And now with Reebok deal, we don't have to worry about that. Don't get me wrong, it is fucked up for somebody to have their first professional fight making $2,500. They can make more money from fucking McDonald's sponsorship for chicken McNuggets than they have $1 special going on.
Well, it's guys like Brendan Schaub that were making more than $100,000 a fight.
I'd like to see the paycheck for that.
I saw it.
Oh, okay.
I saw all his financials.
Well, there we go.
I asked him because he was telling me this, and I said, please, I can't say that I know that you did this unless you give me all your financials.
Yep,
so
absolutely.
he sent me all his financials. He made $140 from one of his fights in sponsors.
$140,000.
How about Vitor, man? Vitor is losing millions.
Really?
According to his wife, who I have no reason to doubt, he's losing millions of dollars.
See, that's why I think they should come out straight up and be like, dude, you know, when Reebok deal first came out, like I said, the one thing I love about the Reebok deal is that I don't have to run around and try to finagle with anybody.
I appreciate that.
If I was making millions and millions of dollars as sponsorship, I would fucking come out and be like,
yeah, you'd hate it.
Hey, Dana White, I know you got, the sports being all, great and stuff, but I'm making $2 million on sponsorships. You don't fucking believe me? Here's the paycheck. I'll post this bitch online to show the whole world that, yes, Reebok's all good and stuff, but I'm missing $2 million. So you tell me what's right for the fighters and what's right for the sport.
In all honesty, I don't think the UFC knew how much fighters were making. That's one of the reasons why Dana was saying that Brendan Schaub was a liar. I don't think he knew.
Well,
and that
he knows now.
Well, he knows. I mean, I don't think they knew. I think they made a mistake in that regard. And I think that, their idea was that this is a gigantic sponsor that's going to up the profile of the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. I honestly, true-heartedly believe that when the UFC went into deal, or even Reebok went into the deal with Reebok, when UFC and Reebok shook hands, I think it was for the better of the sport, better for the fighters. I don't think that anyone was like... Joe
What's he doing? He didn't do any of that.
Well.
If he did, he'd probably be way more paranoid.
Well, I don't know.
Trust me.
But I feel that when they went into that, they were hoping for the best.
Yes.
For both sides, for the fighters and the UFC and the sport itself.
No, I don't think they would ever do something they thought would hurt the UFC or hurt the fighters. Yeah. I just think that it probably should have been investigated a little bit more thoroughly, and it probably should have been. It should have been handled a little bit more competently. Then you wouldn't have Anderson Aldo T-shirts. You wouldn't have Anthony Pettis being called the fucking mauler on their website.
Hey, somebody just found out that I had shirts on there. So some dude was like, dude, I can't find your shirts on there. I was like, I don't know. Then I looked and I was like, oh, here they are. He goes, I've been looking all fucking day and I can't even find them.
Schaub won't even sign the deal. They keep coming to him to sign the deal. He's like, not interested.
I didn't sign a deal.
Yeah, well, they won't send his stuff. They won't sell his stuff unless he signs a deal, and he just won't do it.
Good for him. I mean, at the end of the day,
he's most likely going to retire anyway, but...
He did retire, didn't he?
Sort of, kind of.
That's why at the end of the day, I'm at the point in my career where I know that I have to... And Dana White's told me this from day one. I remember the UFC fighter sometimes he used to do. He's like, you guys have to use the platform that we're providing you guys to be able to market yourself. And I never realized what he was saying until now I'm in this point in my career. Like I've defended my title 7 times, and I always refer to myself as a redheaded stepchild that I don't get the same type of publicity as other fighters do, which I'm totally fine with it.
Well, what's interesting is like a guy like Conor's only 20 pounds heavier than you.
Yeah.
It's not a size difference. I mean, there's
a big fucking size difference. I've stood next to the man. He's fucking towering over me. He can see the bald top of it. He probably see his reflection in his shiny bald head, my friend.
Isn't it weird though? That's only 20 pounds.
Yeah, it's true. It's only 20 pounds, but it's you know, it's the way life is. As somebody told me, people like to see bigger people fight.
Okay, but how come TJ Dillashaw gets a ton of press? He's only 10 pounds heavier than you.
I don't know.
There you go, right?
You think it's because I'm black? I don't know.
Because you're black? No. Could that be it? Jesus.
No.
I never even thought about that until just now.
No.
No, I don't know what it is, man. I think there's something about, like, flyweights. There's something about, like, the lightest weight that, for whatever reason, people don't appreciate someone who, even when you knock guys out at that weight class, I don't know what the fuck it is, man. I don't know what it is.
It's all good. I sparred a guy the other day. He's coming in. He comes to train with us because he comes to train and he does he's a huge gambler, professional poker player, and he
spars.
And he comes to spar. He comes to get ready because
this shit ain't good for your brain.
No. I don't have it in a brain, but he does betting against other poker players, and he has a gamble going on that he's going to fight somebody for. I think it was, if he wins, he gets $270,000. If the guy backs out, he gets like $190,000.
Whoa!
So he comes to AMC to get ready for his fights, and he's way bigger than me, right? And then we're sparring, and like Matt was like, "You're going to spar Demetrious Johnson," and we're sparring, and I hit him in his stomach. I was doing my thing, and boom, 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 hit him in the liver, and he goes, "Oh!" Oh, and I was like, oh, yeah. And then I started hitting him in the face. I was like, and I'm very nice. I tell all my spar partners before my fights, I say, I promise you I would never hurt you. It might feel like fucking shit in hell, but I guarantee you will be able to go to work on Monday. Because a lot of my training partners, when I get with my fights, they have normal 9-to-5 jobs.
Right.
And so I was hitting him in the face. I was like, oh, isn't it amazing how the body just reacts when it gets hit in the liver? You don't even care I'm hitting in the face right now, do you? And then he started bringing his face, and I go, wham, right? And somebody goes, okay, I'm done. I got to take a break. Matt's like, give him a break real quick, DJ. But it's like, If a person's like, oh, you're too small fight, and I was like, dude, we can spar and we can see how it's gonna go. Like, I'm not gonna be a dick or an a-hole, but I'm gonna use my skill set that Matt has provided me with to dismantle you and show you need to respect me as a smaller person. I guess. I mean, I don't know how.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying. I think it's a perception issue. When Matt structures your training camp, he does the whole thing. He does strength and conditioning, he does your kickboxing, wrestling,
everything.
Decides what you do on any given day.
Yep. There's days I come in and I'm like, I'll be mentally prepared because, I always love it how you say, I want to see his fucking strength and conditioning program. Mm-hmm. And if you saw, you'd be like, what the fuck are you doing, my friend?
Why? What do you do?
you just have to come watch it. Like,
what do you do?
It's just random shit. Like, it's just crazy. Like, it's always structured totally different. Like, I'll come in physically, like, trust me, it beats the hell out of me where I'll come in Monday night, like, I'll do a Monday morning practice. I'll call my wife, like, hey babe, gonna go get some food. I eat the same thing every single day. I wake up, have the same food.
You eat the same thing every day?
Every fucking day.
What do you eat?
So in the morning, when it's training camp time, I have, maybe 3 eggs and toast with cheese on it with Tabasco sauce. Then that's all I have for breakfast. And I have a little glass of orange juice. Not a lot. I don't like the orange juice.
Sugar,
yeah. Take out to the gym. I do my hard, intense interval day. And it might be, depending on where we're at in training camp, typically the ones I fucking hate is the power explosion. Because I'm throwing, I don't like lifting weights. Like, I like lifting weights, but I don't like them weights. When it comes to just strictly fighting, I don't like lifting weights because the person I have to lift up is 125 fucking pounds. Well, supposedly. Mm-hmm. So we do that, and then I take a break. I go to Teriyaki Madness. I have teriyaki with brown rice and cucumbers. I eat that. Then I go across the street and get my PCC. I have an apple.
What's PCC?
PCC is like a Whole Foods in Seattle. I have an apple, maybe a banana, and some type of nuts, and I fill up my gallon of water again. Then I sit there and I play video games until 5 o'clock or 5:30 or 6. Walk next door, do my Muay Thai pads, and then we'll either do hard grappling or we'll break down video and drill. And then next day, I do the exact same thing. Wednesday, I do the exact same thing. Thursday is off. Friday, I do the exact same thing. Saturday, I go up and spar, and that's it. So when people are like, when I look at fighting, it's my full-time job. Some people are like, I love Dana White's comment. People, champions, they can't take the pressure of being a champion. Being the fucking champion is easy, if you ask me. All I have to do is go out there and fucking fight and make weight. Literally, that's all I have to do. I don't let any distractions get in my way of my fighting. Like if someone's like, Matt, I told Matt, I was like, Matt, my goal is I want to do movies. I want to be able to do something. I want to go fight for so long. Like when I start making those 2 million or 3 million or 4 million, if I ever make that from fighting, then I won't worry about doing fucking movies. I'm trying to do movies now because I'm not making that because I want to go fight for so long.
Right.
And so, but if I made $5 or $6 million in the bank, I wouldn't even worry about anything else. So that's why I put all my heart and soul into fighting because hopefully one day it opens those doors to the vampires. And I'll fight time.
Demetrious, you can make money. The gay porn vampires are gonna come in.
But that's like, so when I say I do the same thing every single day for 8 weeks to 10 weeks, I live, breathe, eat, training. That's all I do.
So you take Thursdays off every week?
I take Thursdays and Sundays off.
2 days a week.
Oh yeah,
good for you.
And Wednesday is only a morning session, and Saturday is only a morning session. So I typically take Wednesday night off, Thursday off, Friday double,
and
Saturday morning.
Did you come to this from trial and error?
Trial and error with Matt because I told him, I was like, dude, because in the beginning of it, I would train Monday, Tuesday, a double, and then Wednesday night I would train. So I would rest all day morning Wednesday, and then Wednesday night we would train. And then I felt like Thursday was almost like a recovery day. And then on Friday I didn't feel as good because I was still beaten down. And so I was like, Matt, let's try Monday, Tuesday. My body's already to shit by Wednesday, and I was like, let's just go hammer it through Wednesday. Then I get Wednesday night off to relax. Then I get Thursday off to relax. Then by Friday, my mind mentally, I'm like fresh, refocused. Body's fresh, refocused. We hammer it Friday. Then Saturday morning, we come in hard sparring MMA, and then Saturday night I'm off. Sunday I'm off. Monday you start again. I'm like fresh, and we don't get in when we start our week. We don't get into like hard sparring. We spar. I maybe spar twice a week, and maybe one week super hard. But I don't wear headgear when I spar because we're not a big believers of hitting people in the head hard.
That's so smart, man. It's so smart, the idea of taking those rest periods too, because a lot of people don't want to do that. They don't want to take those days off.
I never wanted to do it before, but then when I fought one time when I was well rested, like when I fought Dotson the second time, like after the fight was done, I was like, Joe Rogan, you son of a bitch, you look prettier than ever. All right, go ahead and interview. What do you want to talk about? I felt rested. Like I felt if I would need to go another 6-7 rounds, even though I had that.
Because you weren't overtrained.
Wasn't overtrained. I was very well rested. And sometimes there's that mental capacity to where, there's times I'm like, okay, Matt, Matt's like, okay. He'd be like, you're done for today. I'm like, no. I want to hit the bag. I want to get some of my Miguel Cotto rounds. I want to hit the bag like a boxer. And he goes, no, you're good. There's no point because you have many more years to come to where you're going to put those arms to use. So you're done for today. Go home. And he would tell me to go home. It's not like, yeah, go ahead. You need to do more rounds on the bag.
That's so smart, man.
And that's
Look, the fucking result speaks for itself, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why like now like I'm fucking itching. I'm scratching. I'm at the point now where I'm just like, fuck, I'm just waiting for the UFC to like, hey, this is who you're fighting next. This is the date.
So you don't know who your next opponent is?
Do not know.
Who do you think it'll be?
They say it's possibly Henry Cejudo, but I never get married to that opponent because at the end of the day, it could be Henry Cejudo. 6 weeks into camp, he can get injured, and then they give me somebody else.
Isn't it crazy, Joe? Cejudo's only had a few fights in the UFC, and already, I mean,
that's the business.
How many? Has he had 3 fights at flyweight?
I think
4 overall?
He fought Dustin Kimura. That was at 135 because he missed weight. No. He fought. No. He was supposed to fight Scott Jurgensen. Or he's supposed to fight flyweight. He missed weight. It wasn't the first time he missed weight. And then
Chusier Formiga is his last fight, right?
his last fight, yeah. And then he fought.
He's a good opponent.
Who?
Chusier?
Yeah, he is.
That was good. That was a good fight.
Yeah, he was a good fight.
We'll talk later.
Yeah, we'll talk later. When he fought Dustin Kimura at 135, beat him, and then he went down to 135 again. Then he fought I can't remember who he fought. He fought Chris Correaso, beat him. Chico Camus beat him. Jussier Formiga beat him. So he's on a 4-fight win streak. 3 fights in my win.
Did he fight Chico at 35 or 25?
25. Chico Camus is 25.
Chico was a good fucking fight, man. Chico's crafty.
Yeah, for him not being a wrestler, he has the best takedown defense for wrestling. But
he's very slick.
But it's only that's the thing. I was telling you, I was like, yes, he has. People are like, oh man, do you think you get taken down? I was like, probably, because my fighting style is totally different from Chico Camus. Chico Camus, he likes to defend the takedowns, and he's 100% successful defending because he's only defending. When I'm going to defend a takedown, I'm going to be looking to fucking elbow you and knee you, which is going to give up my hips. So there's like people are like, one of the things I love about Matt, he says, you're going to make mistakes in a fight, Demetrious, or DJ. He calls me Deej. You're going to make mistakes in the fights, but it's about how you recover from the mistakes what makes a huge difference. So if I get taken down, I'm like, I got taken down. Fuck, I'm screwed. Oh, now I got to get off my back. That takedown was humongous in the scorecards and in the judges' eyes. But if I get taken down, I'm like, okay, I got taken down. Perfect. You got me. Okay, I'm pushing your head down. Okay, I'm getting up. Skewing your hips away. Okay, that's what you're pushing me on. I'm back on my feet. There's a knee to the liver. Okay, there's an elbow. You're backing up. Okay, I'm coming forward. I'm going to switch to southpaw. Here's a body kick. Oh, I'm back to orthodox. Here's this. That takedown means nothing at all.
Right.
And so that's my mindset.
So you don't give in to that takedown.
I don't give. How the fucking takedown? What are you gonna do? Ground and pound me? You're not gonna knock me out that way. It's just the way that I view fighting from the judges, to where the judges are like.
Well, the judges, who knows what the fuck they're doing?
Yeah.
Like half the time, I mean, 50% of them are completely incompetent. Chuck Liddell told me this once. Is a really interesting thing. He said one of the most important things is if you get taken down, the moment you feel your back touch the ground, you have to explode.
Yeah.
He goes, guys rest. They go, fuck, the guy took me down, and they just work from there. He goes, you can't do that. The moment your back touches the ground, you have to immediately be trying to pummel, get that underhook, get back up to your feet. He goes, you can't wait. You can't wait. It's those split-second moments, the difference between taking a breath and then now the guy's pinned down on you, side control or in half guard, the weight,
Wait till I said, I remember the first time I fought Brad Pickett. Well, not the first time, the only time I fought Brad Pickett, and I was holding him like this. Holding him, and Matt, when we got back home from the fight, and after my broken hand healed, and he went over the fight, when he goes, we're watching the fight, and he goes, garbage. Garbage. What are you doing there? Are you going to get up, or are you just holding to your chest? Garbage. And so that's how I was raised. Like, I almost see, like, people are like, the other day someone was like, do you have a college education? I'm like, yes, I do. I have a college education in University of AMC, School of Hard Knocks, because that's how it was. Like, Matt would, like, I would win my amateur fights, and Matt would just in the gym. I'd come in, and he would just beat me up. He would like, dude, we're gonna spar, and we would spar, and he would literally beat me up. And at one point, I was like, I think he's mad at me. Like, did I do something wrong? And then, like, when I got in the WC and the UFC, like, I went against Kiyamoto. Then he'll come back to the gym, and we'll fight, and he would beat the hell out of me. I'm like, what the fuck? I'll come home, I'm like, babe, I think Matt's mad at me. Did I post anything? I posted anything that was wrong? I look at my tweets, I'm like, everything's good. I didn't cuss or anything. I'm good.
He just wants to keep you hungry.
He keeps me hungry and humbled. He goes, he goes, you're on top of the world right now. He goes, I need to break you back that and let you know you don't know shit about fighting. Dude, seriously, that's how it was. He goes, you don't know shit. And
what does he say now, like after the Dodson fight? Good job. I'll get back to work.
Good. He says good job, and there's things we need to work on. And I'm way worse than he is now. He's like, dude, you need to be excited. You need some of your friends. I'm like, nah, I should have fucking finished him. I have the gas tank. I have the cardio. I have the skill set to finish him, and I didn't get the job done. And he goes, yes, I know, because I'm like that. Like, there's one, when I was, after I fought Ali Bagatinov, I was walking out, I was like, that fight was shit. That was a shitty-ass fight. And I'm walking, and Faird's like, yeah, Demetrious, come on. I'm like, hey, come on, have fun. I'm just like, fucking fight was shitty. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. Matt goes, you need to celebrate with your fans. You need to be happy. Even when I thought Josephine was, I was like, that took too long. And that's how it should be. Like I am my worst critic because I know what I am capable of, and I know how hard I train, and Matt knows how hard I train. But so now it's kind of vice versa. He's beat me down so much to where now, like my wife's like, "You're such a Debbie Downer, even though you fucking just won. Like you don't even know how to celebrate." I'm like, sorry, she don't sound like that in real life. She don't sound like that, but that's how it is, and so that's why I'm just a humble guy. So that's why I always want to strive for better. Like even after the Dotsa fight, I was happy. Don't get me wrong, because I know how dangerous it was and how much shit he was talking and how the UFC like. When I saw the preview, the higher ups showed me the preview, and then it showed Dotson dropping me, and I'm all falling back like this, like I had no chance, and I go, okay, guys, I love what you're trying to do here, trying to sell the fight, but why the fuck are you guys showing Dotson drop me 3 times? He goes, dude, we need to make it show the public that you have a chance to lose. And I was like, yeah, I'm not about that model, guys. I'm not a big fan of your guys' trailer. And I told them straight up, and they're like, well, I don't know what to tell you. So after that fight, I was very happy, very confident where my skill set is in my head and physically.
Well, the results speak for themselves, man. I mean, that displeasure in even your great performances, like this constant striving for perfection.
Yeah,
that's what's made you the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, man.
Yeah,
keep it up.
No, don't worry, I'm trying.
Keep it up, brother.
I'm just waiting. I told Matt, and the hardest thing you find is that as I get older, I'm 29, and I don't try to take any supplements at all because you can never tell what's in them, and what is code. Like Chael said, I don't have a fucking list what's banned from USADA.
Well, we had Jeff Nowitzki in, and we went over the list of all the stuff that they sell at like GNC that turns out to be steroids.
Half the shit was probably
fucking everything.
You see,
it's incredible.
And when people were like, "Oh man," when I see people on Instagram, "Oh, this fucking pre-workout's got me."
Yeah, that pre-workout shit's got roids in it, bitch.
I was like, I don't even know what pre-workout is.
Those hard dick pills they sell at gas stations. A lot of those are steroids too, it turns out. There's a lot of steroids out there.
So,
because they can just sell them and then they get pulled off the shelves and they just come back with a new company name and sell some more shit.
Yep, and that's why I try not I don't take no protein at all. And
so you get all your supplements from food.
From food. I just eat food. That's it.
Again, the results speak for themselves, man.
And then when it comes time to, as I get older, I'm trying to find ways to preserve my body longer to where I'm not in the gym. I'm in the gym learning. So I'm up to the gym like 2 days a week trying to learn and drill and do all the stuff because I've already put the time in of learning so much, training with Matt, in my amateur days and my jiu-jitsu days, to where now I'm like, when it comes to fight time, I actually learn more when I'm getting ready for my fights because I'm in a gym 8 weeks straight, just training. You can go so much over your next opponent to where it's like, fuck, let's work on something new.
Right.
To whereas now I'm at the point where I'm trying to figure out how do I preserve my body to when it comes time for camp, it's like, okay, when I start camp, what's your weight at? Oh, I'm already at 141. He goes, that's pretty low. And I'm like, well, I'm not at home getting fat. I'm working out, lifting, working on my strength.
Right.
So that's the hardest part I'm fighting in my career, to where it's like I have to wait on somebody else to be successful in this sport for me to be able to fight again.
Wow,
and
that's crazy. That's the sign of success.
Well, no, it's not.
You're waiting for people to catch up.
No.
That is what's going on.
So you're twisted. I don't see it that
No,
way.
that's my point of view.
That's your point of view. My point of view is like I'm like itching, and you know what? The call might come, and I'm like, I don't want to fight there or this or that. But it's getting that point where I'm like I'm always hungry. This is how I pay my bills. This is how I put diapers on the baby's butt. But I'm just waiting, like, come on, when is it going to be? And I want to be able. If it's on record, I want to fight February 6th in Vegas. Vegas.
It's on record, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, they won't answer. They won't let me have that.
We're out of time, brother. We just did 3 hours.
Oh,
just flew by.
There we
Isn't
go.
that crazy?
There we go.
Flew by.
I had to pee once.
Only once. Amazing.
And you, 0.
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm having a coffee right now, too.
Good for you.
My bladder's insane right now. I've trained it. It's like your endurance.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, listen, thank you, brother. I really appreciate you coming in here. Let's do this again. We'll do it again. We'll promote the next fight next time when you're about to fight.
Yeah, sounds good.
My pleasure. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mighty Mouse Johnson, ladies and gentlemen. Mighty Mouse USA. No, Mighty Mouse MMA.
Mighty Mouse UFC 125
UFC 125 on Twitch. But what is it on Twitter? Mighty Mouse MMA?
UFC 125, right? Yeah, Mighty Mouse UFC.
Isn't it Mighty Mouse MMA?
No. That's my Mighty Mouse MMA is my wife's email address.
Oh shit!
But they don't know if it's Yahoo.
Yeah,
or,
don't
or
say
.net
it.
or
They're gonna
AOL.
fucking send dick pics to all of them.
Oh God, no.
All right, thank you, brother. Appreciate
I
it.
appreciate
All right,
it.
folks, we'll be back tomorrow with Bert Kreischer. See you then. Over the time.